Welcome to Tyla Walker Romance. You're about to dive into one of Miss Tyla's free full audiobooks. She always knows how to make you forget your life with handsome alpha male billionaire heroes and sassy strong heroines who grab love with both hands. In order for this content to be free, we have to take out the dirty details. Otherwise, we risk disrupting this platform's rules and guidelines. Buy the unabridged version of any Tyla Walker audiobook from TylaWalker.com, and with code SAVE40, you can get 40% off any digital product at checkout. Take this moment to subscribe to the channel, and remember that liking and commenting is what makes these free full audiobooks possible. Thank you for choosing to treat yourself with Miss Tyla. Chapter 1. Lucy. The past is supposed to stay where it belongs, buried beneath years of moving on. That's what I tell myself as I stand in my tiny kitchen, stirring a pot of coffee that's already been brewed, just for something to do. Something to keep my hands occupied so they don't start trembling. Mornings are usually my favorite. The quiet hum of the world waking up, the smell of fresh coffee, the sound of May's feet shuffling down the hall as she makes her way to breakfast. But today, something feels off. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I dreamt about him again. Dexter Lane. Even after all these years, his name still settles in my chest like a stone. Heavy, unmovable. It's been 16 years, but time hasn't been kind enough to erase the memory of him. The way he used to look at me like I was his whole world. The way we'd sneak off to the river. His fingers tangled with mine, promising forever. Forever. What a joke. I tighten my grip around the handle of my coffee mug and take a slow sip. I shouldn't be thinking about this. It's been too long. I have a good life. A life I built from the ground up with nothing but sheer willpower. And a love so fierce it could burn through the darkest of nights. I have May, and that's all that matters. Morning, Mom. May's voice rings through the kitchen as she enters, hair still messy from sleep, eyes bright with excitement. She's growing up too fast. I swear just yesterday, she was small enough to curl up in my lap, her tiny fingers gripping my shirt as she drifted off to sleep. Now she's almost a woman, taller than I ever thought she'd be, with my deep brown skin and Dexter's piercing blue eyes. God, those eyes. I force a smile. Morning, sweetheart. You're up early. May pours herself a glass of orange juice and leans against the counter. I wanted to check my email before school, see if I got a response about that internship. I nod, pretending like I haven't been checking my own email religiously, waiting for the same thing. I'm sure you'll hear back soon. They'd be lucky to have you. She grins. You have to say that. You're my mom. I smirk. I don't have to say it. I want to. May takes a long sip of her juice, then eyes me carefully. You okay? You seem weird. I wave her off. I'm fine. Just tired. She watches me for a second longer, before shrugging and heading to the small nook where our old laptop sits. If I don't get this, it's not the end of the world, she says casually, but I know better. This internship, it means everything to her, and to me, because for once, I want her to have an opportunity that wasn't built on struggle. I want her to have the kind of future Dexter always had handed to him. Not that I'm thinking about Dexter. Nope, not at all. The silence stretches as I wash my empty mug and place it in the dish rack. Behind me, May lets out a sudden ear-piercing squeal. Oh my God, I got it. I spin around just in time to see her bouncing in her chair, eyes wide with excitement as she stares at the screen. You got it? I echo, my own heart pounding. Yes! She jumps up, rushing toward me and nearly knocking me over with the force of her hug. I got it, Mom. I actually got it. Laughter bubbles up from my chest and I squeeze her tight. I knew you would. I'm so proud of you, baby. May pulls back, her face glowing. It's at that new building downtown, the one everyone's been talking about, the design firm that opened up last year. Can you believe it? I smile. That's amazing, sweetheart. His name is Dexter Lane, the CEO. He's one of the youngest billionaires in the country. The world tilts. The air is sucked from my lungs. And just like that, the past crashes into me with the force of a tidal wave. Dexter Lane. No, it's not possible. I grip the counter, fighting the dizziness that threatens to pull me under. May doesn't notice. She's too busy rambling, her excitement spilling out in rushed sentences. They said I'll be working closely with him. Can you believe it? A real CEO. I mean, I probably won't talk to him much, but still, this could be huge for my career. I can't breathe. Dexter, May, the same place. This isn't happening. I nod stiffly, forcing my lips into something that resembles a smile. That's incredible, sweetheart. And it is, for her. For me, it's a nightmare. Because if she works for Dexter, it's only a matter of time before he finds out, before he sees her, before he realizes what I did, what I took from him. Mom, May tilts her head. Are you sure you're okay? You look like you're about to throw up. I swallow hard, trying to ground myself. I'm just overwhelmed. This is a big deal, May. She beams. I know, right? This could change everything. Yeah, it could, but not in the way she thinks. I force myself to straighten. We should celebrate. Dinner tonight? May nods. Definitely. But I have plans with friends after school, maybe tomorrow. I nod absently, my mind already spiraling. Tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll wake up and my daughter will go to work for the man I once loved, the man I ran from, the man I lied to. Tomorrow my past will start to unravel, and there won't be a damn thing I can do to stop it.
Chapter 2. Dexter. I've never been a morning person. I fake it, sure. A strong cup of black coffee, an early run, a perfectly pressed suit. I've mastered the art of looking like I have my life together. But truth be told, I hate mornings. They remind me too much of the past. Mornings were when I used to wake up with her beside me. Lucy. I scrub a hand over my face as I stare at my laptop screen, reading over an email for the third damn time and still not processing a word. It's been years. I should be over it. I tell myself that every time she sneaks into my thoughts. But then, just like now, I remember the way she used to fit against me. The way she smelled in the morning, like vanilla and something sweet. The way she used to trace circles on my wrist absent-mindedly when we talked about our future. A future she stole from me when she disappeared. I shake my head, exhaling sharply. Enough. I have work to do. I scroll through my calendar, my schedule packed back to back as usual. Meetings. Calls. More meetings. I thrive in structure, in numbers, in the predictability of business. It's the only place I can control the outcome. But there's one new addition to my schedule today. An intern. I don't usually handle intern introductions, but Eric, my COO, insisted. She's sharp, he told me, and the best candidate we've had in a long time. Thought you'd want to meet her personally. I don't argue with Eric. He's been with me since the beginning, back when this company was just a wild idea in my head. If he says she's worth my time, then she is. Still, I don't put much thought into it. Just another kid trying to make it in this cutthroat world. There's a knock on my office door. Come in. The door swings open and Eric steps inside, followed by a girl. She's young. 16, maybe 17, with dark curls pulled into a high ponytail and long legs that make her look taller than she probably is. She's wearing a simple white blouse and dark jeans, professional but youthful. But it's her eyes that stop me cold. Bright blue, my blue. "This is May Reynolds," Eric says, completely oblivious to the way my whole goddamn world just tilted on its axis. "Our new intern." She steps forward, sticking out her hand. "It's nice to meet you, Mr. Lane." My chest feels tight, but I push past it, forcing a smile as I shake her hand. "Nice to meet you too, May." May. The name feels foreign and familiar all at once. I let go of her hand quickly, afraid if I hold on too long, she'll see what's happening in my head. The resemblance is undeniable. Same skin tone as her mother. Same full lips. Same sharp mind if she's as good as Eric says. But those eyes. God, those damn eyes. I sit back in my chair, crossing my hands in front of me. "So, May, tell me about yourself." She brightens. I'm a junior at Westview High, and I've always been interested in design. When I heard about this internship, I knew I had to apply. I was so excited when I got the acceptance email. "Westview. The same school Lucy went to. The same school I used to wait outside of just to steal a few extra minutes with her. I keep my expression neutral." "And what kind of design are you interested in?" "Architectural design mostly, but I'm fascinated by interiors too. I've always loved the way a space can tell a story, you know?" I nod slowly, studying her. She's confident but eager, smart, passionate. I feel something I haven't in years. I feel something like recognition clawing at the back of my mind. A deep, gut-wrenching instinct. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I know. May Reynolds is mine. My throat tightens, my pulse pounds, but I keep my voice even. That's good to hear. We need people with vision around here. May grins. That's what my mom always says. Mom. I clench my jaw so hard it aches. Lucy. She never told me she had a kid. Never called. Never gave me the chance to... No. I won't go there. Not yet. I exhale through my nose, forcing the tightness in my chest to loosen. Well, I'm sure you'll do great here. Eric will be overseeing your workload, but if you ever need anything, my door's open. May nods, eyes shining with excitement. Thank you, Mr. Lane. I glance at Eric. You can show her around now. Eric gives me a knowing look. He can tell something's off, but he doesn't push. Come on, May. I'll introduce you to the team. As soon as the door closes behind them, I shove back from my desk and stand, pacing the length of my office. This isn't a coincidence. It can't be. Lucy Reynolds walked out of my life almost 17 years ago without a single damn word, and now her daughter, our daughter, just so happens to end up in my office. My hands curl into fists. I don't believe in fate. I believe in facts, in numbers, in things that make sense. This doesn't make sense. I snatch my phone off my desk and dial a number I haven't called in years. It rings twice before I hear his voice. Dex, I take a deep breath. I need you to find someone for me. A pause. Who? Lucy Reynolds. I don't know what I'm going to say when I find her. I don't know if I'll yell or demand answers or just stand there, staring at the woman who ripped my heart out all those years ago. But I do know one thing. She owes me the truth.
Chapter 3. Lucy. I spend the rest of the morning pretending like my world isn't falling apart. I make my bed, tidy up the kitchen, even fold the laundry that's been sitting in a basket for 2 days. But my hands shake. My breath comes too fast. My mind won't shut up. Dexter Lane, May's boss. The walls I spent years building, years of carefully constructed lies and omissions, feel like they're crumbling, brick by brick. I sit on the couch, gripping a throw pillow tightly. What do I do? What if he sees her and just knows? Would he recognize his own child? Would he put the pieces together? My stomach twists. Of course he would. because May isn't just any kid. She's his, and she looks like him. I scrub a hand down my face, willing myself to think rationally, but the anxiety coils in my gut like a living thing. I thought I'd have more time. I thought I'd never have to face this. The front door swings open and May bursts in, practically vibrating with excitement. "Mom!" She kicks off her sneakers, dropping her bag in the hallway. "You won't believe how amazing it was." I force a smile, pushing my panic aside. "Tell me everything." She flops onto the couch beside me, grinning ear to ear. "First of all, the office is insane. Like full-on glass walls, sleek furniture, and a whole damn espresso bar." I laugh lightly, despite the storm in my chest. "Fancy." "Super fancy," she nods. "And everyone was really nice. Eric, the guy who runs the intern program, gave me the grand tour and he's super cool." I nod, gripping the couch cushion. And then she says it. "I met the CEO too." My pulse jumps. Dexter. I keep my face blank, my fingers curling tighter into the fabric of the pillow. "Oh?" May doesn't notice the way my voice wavers. She's too caught up in the moment, bouncing a little on the couch as she talks. "Yeah, he's younger than I expected," she continues. "Not like young, but, some CEOs are like old guys with gray hair and—" "Did he seem nice?" My voice barely makes it out. She shrugs. "I mean, he seemed kinda serious at first, but he was cool. He asked me about my interests and why I wanted to intern there. It was actually kind of intimidating." I nod slowly, my heart hammering in my chest. She met him, spoke to him, looked him in the eye, and he didn't say anything? He didn't ask about me? A flicker of relief rushes through me, but it's short-lived. Because Dexter Lane is the smartest man I've ever known. If he hasn't put it together yet, he will. May keeps talking, but I can barely focus. My mind spins, trying to figure out what comes next. Do I pull her from the internship? Tell her something, anything, that will make her want to quit? No, that would only raise suspicion. Do I reach out to Dexter first? Try to get ahead of this before he... "Mom?" I blink, realizing May's looking at me funny. "Yeah?" She frowns. "Are you okay? You look pale." I wave a hand, forcing a laugh. "I'm fine. Just a long day." She eyes me for a second, but then shrugs. "Well, anyway, I have homework, so I'm gonna head to my room. But you owe me dinner tomorrow, no takeout." I nod, barely hearing her as she disappears down the hall. The second she's gone, I stand up and start pacing. I don't have a lot of time. I know Dexter. He won't let this go. If he suspects anything at all, he'll dig until he finds answers. I walk to the kitchen, my hands trembling as I pull my phone from my pocket. I never changed my number. Stupid, maybe. But there was always a small hidden part of me that thought, one day he might call. One day I might be ready. I stare at the screen, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. Do I text him? Call him? What do I even say? "Hey, remember me? I lied to you for 16 years. Surprise, you have a daughter." No, that's not how this can happen. I exhale sharply, my heart racing. I have to think. I have to. My phone vibrates in my hand. I look down. My stomach plummets. Incoming call, Dexter Lane. Damn it. I freeze, my breath catching in my throat as I stare at his name, flashing across my screen like a warning. My first instinct is to let it ring. Maybe if I don't answer, he'll let it go. Maybe. No. I know better. Dexter doesn't let things go. With a shaky breath, I swipe the screen and press the phone to my ear. I haven't heard his voice in almost 17 years. But the second he speaks, it's like no time has passed at all. "Lucy?" One word, but it's filled with so much shock, anger, disbelief, and something else. Something that makes my chest ache. I squeeze my eyes shut, gripping the phone tighter. Hi, Dex. There's silence on the other end, then a sharp inhale. You still have the same number? Yeah. Another beat of silence. Then, how long were you gonna wait? I swallow hard. Dex? How long, Lucy? His voice is sharper now. How long were you gonna keep this from me? Tears burn the back of my eyes, but I don't let them fall, because this is what I was afraid of. This is why I ran. Dexter, please, I met her. His voice cracks, just slightly. I met my daughter today, Lucy, and I didn't even know she existed. Tears slip down my cheeks. I squeeze my eyes shut, but it doesn't stop them from falling. Dexter. No, his voice is still now. You don't get to cry. You don't get to be the victim here. My heart clenches. I deserve to know, he continues, voice raw. I deserve the chance to be her father. I know, I whisper. The silence is heavy and suffocating. Then he exhales slow and measured. We need to talk, in person. My stomach tightens. I knew this was coming. I knew I couldn't run forever. Still, my voice is barely a whisper. Okay? Tomorrow night. Dinner. His tone leaves no room for argument. Just you and me. I hesitate, but I know there's no way out of this. Okay, I say again. There's a beat of silence. Then, softly, softer than I expect. Lucy. I close my eyes, gripping the counter for support. Yeah. His voice is quiet, almost broken. I don't know whether I want to kiss you or scream at you. A sob builds in my throat, but I shove it down. I know. The call ends, and just like that, my past isn't my past anymore. It's my future.
Chapter 4. Dexter. I don't sleep. I stare at the ceiling of my penthouse, listening to the rhythmic ticking of the clock on the wall, each second dragging me deeper into the pit of my own thoughts. Lucy, my lover. May, my daughter. The words feel foreign and familiar all at once, like something I should have known, but somehow missed. The second I saw her, something inside me knew, but I ignored it, too busy thinking with my head instead of my gut. Now I feel like my entire life has been flipped upside down. I push out of bed at dawn. The sky's still dark outside my window. There's no use trying to force sleep when my mind won't stop spinning. Coffee. That's what I need. I head to the kitchen, my bare feet cold against the marble floors, the city skyline stretching out in front of me through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Normally, this view calms me. It reminds me of everything I built, everything I fought for. But today, it just feels empty. I make my coffee black and drink it standing up, the bitterness grounding me. Lucy Reynolds, the only woman I've ever loved, the only woman who ever left me without a word. And now I know the truth. She wasn't just running from me. She was running with something. Someone. I grip the counter, my knuckles turning white. 16 years. 16 goddamn years, and she never told me. Would she have ever told me if I hadn't found out this way? My jaw clenches so tight it aches. I need answers, and tonight I'm getting them. Work is a blur. Eric keeps looking at me like he knows something's wrong, but he doesn't ask. He's smart enough to know when to stay out of my way. By the time evening rolls around, I'm wired. Too much caffeine, too little patience. I glance at my watch, 6:45 p.m. I grab my keys and head out. I chose a quiet restaurant. One of those small, dimly lit places where people don't pay attention to anyone else. I don't need an audience for this. By the time I arrive, Lucy's already there. She's sitting in a corner booth, her back straight, her fingers twisting in her lap. And damn it, she looks exactly the same. Older, sure, a little more tired around the eyes, but still her. Still so damn beautiful. Still the only woman who's ever made my heart feel like it's about to beat out of my chest. She looks up as I approach, her brown eyes locking onto mine. Neither of us moves for a moment. Then she inhales sharply, like she's bracing herself. Good. She should be. I slide into the seat across from her, not bothering with small talk. The silence is thick, almost unbearable. Then I say the only thing that matters. Why? Lucy swallows, her hands gripping the edge of the table. Dexter... No. My voice is sharp, edged with years of hurt. No excuses, no nonsense, just tell me why. She looks away, her fingers tightening around her napkin. I was scared. That's not good enough. My jaw tightens. You had to know I would have been there. You had to know I would have... I didn't know, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. I go still. The anger, the pain, it's all bubbling under the surface. But the way she says it, the raw honesty in her tone, it knocks the breath out of me. I shake my head. Then why? If you knew I would have stayed, if you knew I would have... Because it wasn't about you. Her voice is stronger now, steady. I stare at her, stunned. What the hell does that mean? Lucy takes a deep breath, like she's about to say something that physically hurts. Your family, Dexter. A bitter laugh escapes me. My family? She nods. Your parents, your legacy, you. She lifts her gaze, eyes shining with something I can't quite name. I wasn't just some rich guy's girlfriend, I was the poor girl, the one who never belonged. And when I found out I was pregnant, I knew what would happen. I lean forward, my fingers pressing into the table. You don't know anything about what I would have done. I know exactly what you would have done. Her voice is quiet but firm. You would have tried to fight for me. You would have gone against your family, against everything you were supposed to be. And I couldn't... She swallows hard. I wouldn't let you. I can barely breathe. She left... for me? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't... My parents didn't control me then, I grit out. And they sure as hell don't control me now. Lucy exhales, shaking her head. Maybe not, but back then, you were just a kid trying to be a man. And I was a scared, pregnant teenager with no one left in the world. I stare at her, my whole body tense. So what? You decided for me? Her eyes darken. Yeah, Dexter, I did. My chest tightens, the weight of it all pressing down on me. 16 years, 16 birthdays, 16 first days of school, 16 Christmases, all stolen from me, from her. I shake my head, swallowing hard. You had no right. Her voice wavers. I know. The silence stretches, thick with everything we've left unsaid. Since seeing May, I realize something. I don't just hate Lucy for what she did. I hate that I still love her. I drag a hand down my face, exhaling sharply. How do we move forward from this? Lucy's hands tremble slightly, but she meets my eyes. I don't know. We sit there, two people caught in the wreckage of a past we never truly escaped.
Chapter 5. Lucy. I can't breathe. Not properly anyway. Every inhale feels sharp, like my lungs forgot how to do their job. Every exhale feels like I'm letting go of something. Dexter's staring at me, his blue eyes burning with 1,000 emotions I can't even begin to name. Anger, hurt, something else. Something that twists in my chest so tight, I feel like I might snap in half. I don't know what I expected tonight. I don't know if I thought he'd be more understanding, if he'd look at me and see the scared girl I used to be instead of the woman who ripped his daughter from him. But the weight of his silence crushes me. I force myself to speak. Dex. He flinches just slightly, And I hate it. I hate that I still know him this well, that I can still see every crack in his armor no matter how much time has passed. "You decided for me, Lucy," he says, his voice sharp and controlled, but I hear the edge of something breaking beneath it. "You didn't even give me a choice." I swallow, my throat dry as paper. "I thought I was doing the right thing." Dexter laughs, but not his usual contagious laugh, just something bitter and hollow. "The right thing?" He leans forward, his elbows resting on the table, his hands clasped like he's holding himself together. "You thought it was the right thing to disappear? To let me spend 16 years wondering what the hell happened to you?" I blink fast, pushing back the sting in my eyes. I didn't know what else to do. "You could have told me," he snaps. "You could have trusted me." His words are a punch to the gut, and the worst part, he's right. I should have trusted him. But back then, I wasn't thinking about trust. I wasn't thinking about how much I loved him. I was thinking about survival. I look down at my hands, clasped tight in my lap. I was 17, Dex. My voice is soft, but there's a tremble in it. I lost my parents. I was alone, and when I found out I was pregnant, I was scared. I knew what your family thought of me. I knew what they'd say, and I couldn't let them take her from me. Dexter goes stiff, his jaw clenching. "You really think they would have taken her?" I lift my eyes to his, and this time I don't look away. "I know they would have tried." His hands tighten into fists, but he doesn't argue. He knows I'm not wrong. The Lanes had always been careful about their family legacy, about their image. I was the poor girl, the one from the wrong side of town, the one who was fun, but never forever. I saw the way his mother looked at me back then, like I was a phase, a mistake he'd eventually correct. And if they had found out about May, I couldn't take that risk. Dexter rubs a hand over his face, exhaling hard. "Jesus, Lucy." I stare at the table, my nails digging into my palm. "I didn't do it to hurt you." "But you did." The words cut through me, clean and precise. I look up, my breath hitching in my throat. "I know." For a moment, neither of us speaks. The restaurant hums around us, clinking silverware, quiet conversation, the low murmur of music, but it feels like we're in our own little world, a world full of ghosts and memories. Finally, Dexter leans back, running a hand through his hair. "She's amazing," he says quietly. My heart clenches. "She is," I whisper. "I spent the whole day with her, and I had no idea." His voice cracks just slightly, and I see the rawness in his expression. "She's smart, confident. She's me, Lucy, and I missed everything." Tears burn the back of my throat. "I'm sorry." Dexter shakes his head, laughing bitterly. "Sorry doesn't give me back 16 years. I swallow, fighting the sting in my eyes. "I know that." "Then tell me how we fix this." The question stuns me. Fix this? Like there's an easy answer? Like we can just put a Band-Aid over the past and pretend it doesn't still bleed? "I don't know," I admit. Dexter exhales sharply, dragging a hand over his face. "I don't either. But there's something in his voice. Something softer. And I realize, despite all the anger, despite all the pain, he's still here. He hasn't walked away. Yet." I lick my lips, my heart hammering in my chest. "She doesn't know." Dexter goes still. I force myself to keep going. "She doesn't know you're her father." He closes his eyes briefly, like he's absorbing the weight of that. Then he nods. "Okay." I frown. "Okay?" Okay," he exhales. "I won't tell her. Not yet." Surprise flutters in my chest. I expected him to fight me on this. to storm into May's life, demanding to claim his place, but instead he's asking. My hands tighten around the napkin in my lap. I need time. Dexter studies me, his expression unreadable. How much? I hesitate. A few weeks, let me figure out how to tell her. He nods slowly, his jaw tight. Fine, but I will tell her, Lucy. If you don't, I will. I swallow. I understand. Silence again, but this time it's not suffocating. It's just there. A space between us, fragile but unbroken. Dexter leans back in the booth, watching me like he's seeing me for the first time. I shift under his gaze. What? He exhales, shaking his head slightly. I'm unsure how to feel right now. I nod because I don't either. And maybe that's okay. Maybe we don't have to have all the answers tonight. Maybe, for now, just being here is enough.
Chapter 6. Dexter. I leave the restaurant feeling like I've been hit by a truck. 16 years. 16 years of silence. 16 years of wondering what the hell went wrong. Waking up some nights thinking I saw her in a dream, only to remember she was just gone. And now, just like that, I have a daughter. A daughter. I climb into my car and grip the steering wheel, staring out at the quiet street in front of me. How the hell am I supposed to process this? Lucy said she needed time. Said she'd tell May soon. But the longer I sit here, the more the anger starts creeping back in. I should have known. I should have found her. I don't believe in fate. I never have. I believe in control, in knowing every detail, every angle. But this was right under my nose and I didn't see it. May was right there. Her first day in my building, looking up at me with my own damn eyes. I let out a rough breath and pull my phone from my pocket. I hesitate, my thumb hovering over the screen, but then I press the call button. The line rings twice before a familiar voice answers. Dexter. I lean my head back against the seat, shutting my eyes for a second. Hey, Mom. She goes quiet like she's already bracing herself for something. It's late. Everything okay? I giggle. Not really. A pause. What happened? I open my eyes, staring out at the city lights. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. She exhales. Dex, what is this about? I tighten my grip on the steering wheel. Did you know? Silence. It stretches long enough for me to know the answer before she even says it. She clears her throat, her voice softer now. Dexter, Did you know? I bite out, anger rising fast now. Did you know Lucy was pregnant when she left? She hesitates, and that's enough. A cold weight settles in my chest. Mom, I say slowly, don't lie to me. Another pause, then, finally, yes. I go still. The streetlights outside blur. My ears start to ring. I breathe slowly, trying to keep my voice steady. For how long? Her voice is cautious, like she's picking each word carefully. She didn't tell me directly. I found out after she left. Her friend, Melanie, called me. Melanie. Lucy's best friend back then. She told me Lucy was pregnant, Mom continues. That she'd left because she was scared. My jaw clenches so tight it aches. And you didn't think that was something I should know? Dexter, You let me grieve her, I snap, my knuckles going white. You let me think she just left. And you knew. There's a beat of silence before she sighs. I didn't let you do anything. I made a choice. A choice that I thought was best for everyone. Everyone? I let out a sharp, bitter laugh. Everyone except me. Her voice hardens. Do you think I didn't try to find her? Do you think I wanted this, Dexter? I shake my head, gripping the steering wheel. If you tried, you would have told me. Another silence. Then, softer. You were barely 21. she says, her voice filled with something close to regret. You had your whole future ahead of you, Dex. And she sighs. She was terrified. She thought we'd take the baby from her. I let out a harsh breath. You would have. She doesn't answer, because we both know I'm right. The Lanes had a way of handling things. If they thought something, or someone, was a threat to the family's reputation, they fixed it. And Lucy? She was never part of their plan. Would you have fought for her, Dexter? Mom asks suddenly, her voice quiet. Would you have given up everything for her? The question is sharp. It digs deep. And I hate that I don't know the answer. Because back then I was young, arrogant. I thought I knew everything. But the truth, I didn't know anything. I exhale hard, rubbing a hand over my face. It wasn't your decision to make. Mom sighs again, tired. Maybe not. I don't say anything. Neither does she. We sit in silence, the weight of the past pressing between us. Finally, I break it. She's amazing, Mom. My voice is quieter now, rough around the edges. May, she's... I swallow. She's mine. Mom inhales sharply. You met her? I nod, even though she can't see me. She works for me. She doesn't know who I am. A pause, then carefully. And Lucy? She says she needs time. My voice is sharp again. But she shouldn't get to decide that anymore. Mom doesn't argue. She can't. She knows as well as I do. This isn't just Lucy's secret anymore. I sit there for another few seconds, then shake my head. I have to go. Dexter, I'll call you later. I hang up before she can say anything else. Because if I don't, I might say something I can't take back. I toss my phone onto the passenger seat and lean my head back, exhaling hard. Everything is different now. I can't go back. I can't undo the past. But I can make sure I don't lose any more time. I don't care what Lucy says. I don't care how scared she is. I've already lost 16 years. I won't lose another day.
Chapter 7. Lucy. The weight of the night settles into my bones, pressing down so hard it feels like I might sink right through the floor. My hands are still shaking. My stomach is still twisted in knots. I don't even bother turning on the lights. I just lean against the door, close my eyes, and try to steady my heartbeat. Dexter knows. After all these years, after all the nights I lay awake, wondering what would happen if he ever found out, now he knows. And the way he looked at me tonight, like he didn't know if he wanted to strangle me or hold me. I don't blame him. I wipe a hand over my face and let out a shaky laugh. I must look a mess. My makeup's probably smudged. My hair's half fallen from the bun I threw it in before I left, and my body feels like it's been wrung out like an old dish rag. I need sleep. I need to lie down and shut my brain off before I drive myself insane. But as soon as I push away from the door, I hear it. A sniffle, a rustling sound. I freeze, my heart dropping into my stomach. May. I flick on the light, and there she is, curled up on the couch, knees pulled to her chest, face buried against her arms, crying. My heart clenches so tight I can barely breathe. May. She looks up, and the moment I see her face, my stomach twists. Her eyes are red-rimmed, her cheeks blotchy, and she just looks small. Like a little girl again. Like she's 16, yeah, but still my baby. Sweetheart, what's wrong? I rush toward her, my earlier exhaustion forgotten. I sit down beside her, reaching out, but she shakes her head. I shouldn't be upset, she stammers, voice thick with tears. I shouldn't be. It's stupid. It's so stupid. I frown, brushing her hair back from her face. Baby, nothing that makes you feel this way is stupid. Tell me what's wrong. She sniffs again and looks down at her hands, picking at the hem of her hoodie. And then she whispers, "I saw him today." The bottom drops out of my stomach. I already know. I know exactly who she's talking about before she even says it. Dexter. But I have to be sure. "Who, sweetheart?" Her throat bobs. "My boss." She laughs, but it's a hollow sound, a broken sound. I mean, of course I saw him, right? I work for him. But today was different. I try to swallow, but my throat is too tight. "Different how?" May lets out a slow breath like she's trying to steady herself. "He was looking at me weird all day," she says, voice small. Like he was studying me, like he was trying to figure something out. And then, before I left, he pulled me aside. My breath catches. "What did he say?" She looks up at me, her blue eyes, his eyes, shining with something fragile. "He asked about you." My chest constricts so hard it feels like I might break apart. "What?" "He asked about you," she repeats, voice cracking. "He asked your name, what you do, how you raised me. He asked if my dad was ever in the picture." I don't move. I don't even breathe. "What did you say?" May wipes at her face, her hands trembling. "The same thing I always do, that it was just you and me, that my dad left before I was born." She lets out a humorless laugh. He looked like he was expecting that answer. I grip the couch cushion. "And then what?" She hesitates. Then finally, she whispers, "Then he said he'd see me tomorrow." I shut my eyes, exhaling through my nose. He's testing me. Dexter is waiting for me to come clean, waiting for me to say something before he does. And May? She has no idea she's standing in the middle of a battlefield. I force my voice to stay steady. "Sweetheart, why is this making you so upset?" She looks up at me, tears welling again. "I don't know." She shakes her head. "I don't know why it got to me so much. It's just, when he was talking to me today, I felt weird. Like something was off. Like he already knew everything. And he was just waiting for me to realize it too." My heart pounds so hard, it's a wonder she can't hear it. I reach for her hand, squeezing tight. "Baby, listen to me. You didn't do anything wrong, okay? You didn't?" She nods, sniffling. I don't know. I feel stupid. I've never even thought about him before, my dad. And now, after one conversation with my boss, it's like I suddenly care. That's messed up, right? My heart cracks. "Oh, baby." I cup her face, making her look at me. "It's not messed up," I whisper. "It's not." She bites her lip. "Then why does it feel like it is?" "Because I've spent 16 years making sure you didn't care." I smooth her hair back again, fighting the sting in my own eyes. "Because you weren't expecting it," I say gently. "Because sometimes things we never thought we wanted sneak up on us." She looks at me for a long time, something unreadable in her expression. Then she sighs and leans into me, resting her head on my shoulder. I hold her tight, my arms wrapped around her like I can protect her from the truth for just a little longer. But deep down, I know this is it. This is the beginning of the end of my secret. And no matter how much I try to prepare myself, no matter how much I tell myself I'll handle it when the time comes, I know. I'm about to lose control of everything.
Chapter 8. Dexter. I don't wait. I've never been good at patience, and I'm not about to start now. The moment I step into my office the next morning, I tell Eric to clear my schedule for the first half of the day. "Everything?" he asks, arching an eyebrow. "Everything." He doesn't question it. He knows better. I barely hear him as he steps out. My mind is already somewhere else. I I can't stop thinking about last night. About the way Lucy looked at me, like she was still trying to carry the weight of a choice she had no business making alone. And May, my daughter, the girl I had a conversation with yesterday, who stood in front of me with my own damn eyes and had no clue. I scrub a hand over my face, letting out a rough breath. She's smart. Too smart. She already senses something is off. And if Lucy doesn't tell her soon, I will. There's a knock at my door. I sit up straight, forcing myself into business mode. Come in. The door opens and there she is. May. She steps inside, her backpack slung over one shoulder, her curls pulled back into a high ponytail. "Hey, Mr. Lane," she says casually, offering a quick smile. I nod. "Morning, May. Have a seat." She hesitates just slightly before sitting across from me. She's guarded today, I can tell. The way her shoulders are a little tighter, the way she watches me like she's trying to figure something out. She knows I was too interested yesterday. She's smart, like her mother, like me. So, I start, leaning back in my chair. "How was your first full day yesterday? Everything you expected?" She nods, shifting slightly. "Yeah, it was great. Eric's been really helpful. I'm learning a lot." I nod, watching her carefully. "Good." She fidgets with the strap of her backpack. "You, asked me a lot of questions yesterday." I lift an eyebrow. "Did I?" She nods. "Yeah, about my mom." I don't say anything. I let the silence settle between us, heavy and thick. She exhales, crossing her arms. "Why?" She doesn't dance around it. I respect that. I tilt my head, studying her. "Why do you think?" Her lips press together, and I can tell she's thinking hard. She's trying to piece things together, trying to make sense of why her billionaire boss suddenly cares so much about her mother. "I don't know," she finally admits, "but it felt weird." I nod, my fingers drumming against my desk. "You're perceptive." She shrugs. "My mom raised me that way." Something warm spreads through my chest, something almost proud. I don't know Lucy as a mother, but if she raised this girl, strong, smart, confident, then she did something right. Even if she did keep her from me. I sit forward, folding my hands on the desk. "Do you ever wonder about him?" She frowns. "Who?" "Your father." Her whole body stiffens. Her hands tighten around her backpack strap again. I don't break eye contact. I need to see her reaction. I need to know. She swallows, her jaw tightening. "Not really." A lie. A damn lie. I can see it in the way her fingers twitch, in the way her shoulders go stiff. She's thought about him. Of course she has. And now she's thinking about it even more. "Why not?" I press. She shifts in her seat. "Because he didn't want me." Her words punch me in the gut. I sit up straighter. "Who told you that?" She blinks, caught off guard. "What?" "Who told you he didn't want you?" She frowns, shaking her head. "No one had to tell me. He left. That kind of says it all, don't you think?" I stare at her, my blood boiling. Lucy never told her the truth. She let her believe that I walked away, that I didn't want her. I force myself to take a slow breath, to push down the anger simmering beneath my skin. "And you never once thought maybe there was more to the story?" She lets out a short, humorless laugh. "There's always more to the story, isn't there?" I nod. "Yeah." May studies me like she's trying to see through me, like she knows there's something I'm not saying. She's too smart for this, too smart to just let it go. After a few seconds, she shakes her head and stands up, gripping the strap of her bag. I should get to work. I don't stop her, I don't push. I just watch as she turns toward the door, her shoulders still stiff, her mind clearly still racing. And then, right before she steps out, I say it. Your mom's not the only one who knows the truth. She stops. Her back goes rigid. And slowly, she turns to face me again. Her eyes are sharp now, cutting through me like knives. What? I stand walking around my desk, stopping a few feet in front of her. I keep my voice steady, controlled. Just because your mother hasn't told you everything, I say carefully, doesn't mean you have to wait to find out. Her breath catches. She knows. She doesn't know exactly, not yet, but she knows this isn't just about curiosity anymore. This is something bigger, something real. Her lips part slightly, her breathing uneven. Mr. Lane, what are you saying? I hold her gaze, and something makes me hesitate. Because this is it. This is the moment everything changes, but it has to be her choice. So I tilt my head and ask her the only question that matters. Do you want to know the truth? She stares at me, her whole body tense. She knows this is big. She knows I'm about to tell her something that will change everything. She swallows hard. Then, finally, yes. I exhale slowly, nodding. And then let's talk.
Chapter 9. Lucy. I feel it before it even happens. That slow, creeping sense of something shifting beneath my feet, something inevitable coming toward me like a storm rolling in over the horizon. I don't need a phone call. I don't need a warning. I just know. By the time May walks through the door that evening, I can tell something's changed. She's different. She's quiet. Too quiet. I'm standing at the stove, stirring a pot of pasta, but the second she steps into the kitchen, I freeze. Because I see it. The way her shoulders are stiff. The way she drops her bag on the floor instead of tossing it on the counter like she usually does. The way she looks at me, like she knows. I set the spoon down slowly. Hey, baby, how was work? She doesn't answer right away, and that's when I feel my stomach drop. This is it. This is the moment I've been dreading. She walks farther into the kitchen, crossing her arms over her chest. I talked to Dexter today. My breath catches. My fingers tighten around the edge of the counter. Oh? She tilts her head, studying me. Yeah, he had a lot to say. I swallow hard, my pulse hammering in my ears. May, did you ever think about telling me? She knows. I don't even have to ask how. I don't have to demand to know what Dexter said to her, because I see it in her face. I see it in her eyes. He told her. I inhale sharply, trying to keep my voice steady. I wanted to. She lets out a sharp, bitter laugh. Oh, you wanted to? She shakes her head. But you just didn't? My chest tightens. Baby, it's not that simple. She scoffs. Not that simple? Her voice rises, her hands clenched into fists at her sides. Do you have any idea what today felt like? Sitting in his office, looking at him, and having him ask me if I want to know the truth? I wince. Because I do know. I know exactly how it must have felt for her, sitting across from a man she barely knows, watching as he hints at something that changes everything. She shakes her head, her expression tight. I had to hear it from him, Mom, my boss, a stranger. I reach for her, but she takes a step back. That hurts more than I want to admit. I drop my hand, my throat tight. I never wanted you to find out this way. She lets out a bitter laugh. Oh, really? Then when were you planning on telling me? I stare at her, my heart racing. I don't have an answer. I don't know when I was going to tell her. I just kept pushing it back, telling myself I needed time, that I needed to figure out how. But there was never going to be a right time. And now I'm too late. May runs a hand through her curls, exhaling sharply. You let me believe my dad left, that he didn't want me. Tears burn the back of my eyes. I never said that. She shakes her head. You didn't have to. You let me assume. You let me fill in the blanks, and you never corrected me. Her voice wobbles, and that nearly breaks me, because she's right. I never said the words. I never told her a lie, but I let her believe one. I let her go her whole life thinking she wasn't wanted by a man who never even had the chance to want her. I take a slow, shaky breath. I was scared. She laughs sarcastically. Oh, great. You were scared. That makes it so much better. I close my eyes for a second, trying to gather myself. No, she cuts me off, her voice sharp. You don't get to make excuses. You don't get to stand there and act like this wasn't a choice. I flinch. Because that's exactly what this was. A choice. Mine. She looks away, blinking fast like she's trying to hold back tears. Do you know what the worst part is? I swallow hard. What? Her voice is quieter now, almost broken. I don't even know how to be mad at him. That nearly knocks the wind out of me, because that's what I was afraid of. That once she knew, once she really knew, she'd go looking for something in Dexter that I could never give her. She wipes at her eyes, sniffling. He didn't even tell me right away. He just asked if I wanted to know. He gave me a choice. Her voice cracks on the last word and my chest aches. That's the difference between me and Dexter. I made the choice for her. He let her choose. I try to step forward again, my hands shaking. Baby, please. I know I messed up. I know I should have told you, but I was just trying to protect you. She shakes her head, biting her lips so hard I think she might draw blood. You weren't protecting me. You were protecting yourself. I suck in a breath. She stares at me for another long, agonizing moment, her shoulders trembling. Then she exhales, turns and walks away. I should stop her. I should call her back, make her stay, make her listen. But I don't, because I know I just lost her.
You won't know what hit you, baby. I'm going to take you, break you, and make you mine. And when I'm done, you're...
Now hold on just a minute.
What?
I got something to say.
What's the meaning of this?
Now you may be some fine-looking white boy.
Got that right, baby. It takes hard work.
And you might got the money.
Fat stacks, baby, to spoil you with.
But that doesn't mean I'm going to give it up to you without a fight.
A fight?
You want some limp wilting flowers? Go to historical romance, baby. But you want sassy and spicy strong black queens that tame their alpha male bad boys?
I think our listeners do.
Then you go on and look at Miss Tyla's Bougie Brides and Billionaires audio bundle.
50 hours of me whispering the most romantic things in your ears. Fake marriages, alpha male billionaires, strong black women, steamy scenes that will make your eyes roll back. Everything wrapped up in a happily ever after that will put you in an afterglow.
Use code SAVE40 to get 40% off this bundle and any other digital product in Miss Tyla's store.
Unabridged and uncut.
Just like you?
You're gonna have to find out.
Tyla Walker Romances. Escape your life with sassy romance.
Chapter 10. Dexter. I don't expect her to show up. I don't expect anything, really. I sit in my office, staring at the city skyline, the lights blurring into nothing, the weight of the past pressing into my chest. I should feel good. She knows now. The truth is out there breathing between us, impossible to ignore. But I don't feel good. I feel like I just broke something that can't be put back together. There's a knock at the door. I don't turn around. Come in. The door creaks open, but whoever it is doesn't say anything right away. And then I hear it. Her voice. I don't know why I'm here. I close my eyes briefly. Exhale, then turn. May stands in the doorway, her arms crossed, her backpack slung over one shoulder. She looks unsure, like she's ready to bolt at any second. I don't blame her. I nod toward the chair across from me. You want to sit? She hesitates. Then, slowly, she steps inside and drops into the chair. I study her, not bothering to hide it. She looks so much like me. It guts me knowing how much I missed. How are you feeling? I ask carefully. She lets out a bitter laugh. That's a loaded question. I nod, keeping my expression neutral. Fair. I let her sit with it, let her decide what comes next. Finally, she exhales and looks up at me, her blue eyes sharp. Why didn't you look for me? My stomach twists. I didn't know you existed. And if you had? I meet her gaze. Nothing would have stopped me. She watches me carefully like she's trying to decide whether or not to believe me. I lean forward, resting my arms on the desk. I need you to understand something, May. If I'd known about you, if I'd even had a clue, I would have moved heaven and earth to find you. She stays quiet, her fingers tightening around the strap of her backpack. I sigh, rubbing a hand over my jaw. I didn't get a choice in this. I didn't get to decide what kind of father I wanted to be. Your mom made that choice for me. Her jaw clenches. She thought she was protecting me. I know. My voice is even, careful. And I'm not saying she didn't have her reasons, but they weren't good enough. Not for me. May looks down, her fingers tracing patterns on the leather armrest. How am I supposed to feel about this? I nod, my chest tight. You don't have to know yet. She looks back up at me. I feel like my whole life just got rewritten. Like everything I thought was true isn't. I swallow hard. I get it. She scoffs. Do you? I nod, holding her gaze. I do. Because I woke up 2 days ago thinking I had my whole life figured out. And then you walked into my office. And suddenly, nothing made sense anymore. She exhales shakily like she's trying to keep it together. What happens now? That's the question, isn't it? What does happen now? I want to say I'll fix it, that I'll make it up to her. But I can't make up for 16 years of missed birthdays, scraped knees, first days of school. I can't undo what's already been done. So I don't promise her that. I just say the only thing I can. I don't know, I admit. But I'm here, if you'll let me be. She blinks, her expression guarded. What does that even mean? It means I don't expect anything from you, I say carefully. I don't expect you to suddenly call me Dad or let me in overnight. But I do want to be in your life. And if you ever decide you want that too, I'm here. She doesn't say anything. She just stares at me, something unreadable in her expression. Then, after what feels like forever, she shifts in her seat. So, what do people do when they're trying to get to know their long-lost dad? My heart is hammering in my chest. Whatever they want, I say. Dinner, coffee, walking through a park, arguing about what music sucks. I smirk. For the record, I'll judge your taste in music harshly. She rolls her eyes, but there's the slightest twitch of a smile at the corner of her lips. Progress. I sit back in my chair. You like coffee? She shrugs. Not really. I nod. Dinner then? She hesitates, like she's still deciding. Then finally she nods. Fine, she says. Dinner. I grin. Perfect. What's your favorite food? She narrows her eyes at me, like she knows I'm trying to get more out of her. But then she sighs. Pizza, she mutters. I smirk. Noted. Silence stretches again. But this time, it's not as heavy. It's lighter. Less like the end of something. More like the beginning. She clears her throat and stands up, slinging her backpack over her shoulder. I should go. Mom's probably freaking out. My chest tightens, but I nod. Yeah, She hesitates, glancing at me. So, I'll see you tomorrow? There's uncertainty in her voice, like she's still testing the waters. I don't push. I just nod. I'll be here. She nods back. Then without another word, she turns and walks out the door. This isn't fixed, not even close. But it's something. And for now, that's enough.
Chapter 11. Lucy. I don't pace. I don't sit and wring my hands, staring at the clock, waiting for May to come home. I don't stand by the window, checking my phone every 5 minutes to see if she's called. I don't. Except, I do. I do all of it, because it's after 9 p.m. and I have no idea where my daughter is. No texts, no calls, just silence. And that silence, it's a knife, slicing through every last nerve in my body. My mind jumps to the worst-case scenario. What if she's lost? What if she's with him? What if he's feeding her some perfect little story, making me the villain, making her love him more in an hour than she's loved me in 16 years? I squeeze my eyes shut. Breathe, Lucy. I should be grateful she even came home last night, after the way she looked at me, like I was something broken she didn't know how to fix. I should be relieved that after everything, she still walked through that door. But now she's gone again, and I'm unraveling. The front door creaks open. I whip around so fast my neck almost snaps. May steps inside, closing the door behind her like she hasn't just shaved 10 years off my life. She drops her bag, towing off her sneakers. Her shoulders are tense, but her expression is unreadable. I exhale sharply, pressing a hand to my chest. May. She doesn't look at me. I was at work. I nod, swallowing back the lump in my throat. I know. Her fingers twitch like she wants to say something, but she doesn't. She just stands there, staring at the floor. The air between us is thick, full of things we don't know how to say. I fold my arms, my voice softer now. I was worried. She nods. I figured. Another beat of silence. Then, so quiet, I almost miss it. I went to see him. Everything in me goes still. My breath catches. My nails dig into my arms. Dexter? She nods. Yeah. I wait for her to say more. I wait for her to explain, but she doesn't. She just stands there, shifting her weight, looking at me like she's waiting for me to do something. And the worst part, I don't know what she wants from me. I lick my lips, my throat dry. How did it go? She lets out a slow breath, running a hand through her curls. I don't know. I nod, my chest tight. May. No, she holds up a hand. Just don't. I snap my mouth shut. She exhales, pressing her fingers to her temples. I need time, okay? My chest aches. Of course. She nods, like she expected me to say that, like she doesn't trust it. I hate this. I hate every second of this. Because this is my baby, my whole world. And right now, she's standing 3 feet away from me. But I've never felt farther from her. I step forward, my voice gentle. May, She shakes her head, cutting me off. I'm gonna go to bed. My heart clenches. Okay. She hesitates, looking at me for a second too long, like she wants to say something else. He wanted me to invite you to a gathering he's having for me? He's celebrating me. Then she sighs and turns, walking down the hall, disappearing into her room. The door clicks shut behind her, and I just stand there, staring at the empty space she left behind. I don't cry. I don't scream. I don't let myself fall apart. But God, I want to. Instead, I move to the kitchen. I grab a glass, fill it with water, and force myself to take a slow sip. I count my breaths. I press my palms against the cool countertop. I remind myself that this isn't the end. but it sure as hell feels like it. I close my eyes, exhaling shakily. I don't know what happens next, or how to fix this, but I know one thing. I'm not letting my daughter slip through my fingers. Not now. Not ever.
Chapter 12. Dexter. Lucy is standing 10 feet away from me in the middle of a room filled with people, and yet she's the only thing I see. I should have been prepared for this. Hell, I thought I was, but there's no amount of time, no amount of logic that could have braced me for the way she still hits me. Like a punch to the gut, like a memory that never faded, like something I've been craving without even realizing it. She looks stunning. Her dress is deep green, hugging her waist in a way that makes my throat tighten. Her hair is longer than it was in high school, loose curls falling around her shoulders, and those damn glasses are still perched on her nose, the same ones she used to fidget with when she got nervous. And right now, she is nervous. I can see it in the way she grips the clutch in her hands like she's bracing herself. For me, she doesn't want to be here, but she came. She came because of May, because she didn't want to let her daughter down. Our daughter. I clench my jaw, pushing that thought aside. Now is not the time to open that wound. I take a breath and step forward, closing the space between us. Her shoulders stiffen as I stop just a few feet away. Lucy, I say, my voice lower than I meant for it to be. Her chin lifts, her dark eyes locking onto mine. Dexter. I swallow, forcing a smirk to my lips. Didn't think I'd see you here. She exhales slowly. Trust me, I didn't think I'd be here either. I lift a brow, and yet here you are. Her fingers twitch against her clutch, and I catch the way she shifts slightly, like she's thinking about running. Like she wants to run, but she won't. Not this time. I tilt my head, studying her. You look... I stop myself before I say something I'll regret. Something too honest. Her brows lift slightly, waiting. I exhale. You look good, Luce. Her throat bobs and her expression softens. Then, just as quickly, she straightens, nodding. So do you. I smirk. You sound surprised. She lifts a shoulder. I guess I just assumed you'd still be wearing those ugly varsity jackets. I chuckle. I own a company now, Lucy. I had to upgrade my wardrobe at some point. She tilts her head. So, no more rich kid privilege? I huff a laugh. Oh, it's still there. It just comes in custom-tailored suits now. She smirks, and for a split second it feels like old times. Like we're just two kids standing outside her house, teasing each other while pretending we're not falling harder with every passing second. But then the moment shifts. She blinks, her fingers tightening on her clutch, and just like that, the walls are back up. I exhale, running a hand through my hair. Lucy, I should go, she blurts, stepping back. May is waiting for me. I stiffen, because there it is. The reminder. The thing that sits between us, heavy and unspoken. She left, and she never told me. And now here we are, standing in the middle of a crowded room, pretending like there isn't 16 years of unfinished business between us. I inhale slowly, shoving my hands in my pockets. You don't have to do that. Her brow furrows. Do what? Run. Her lips part slightly, but she doesn't say anything. I tilt my head. You always did that, you know? Dex ran when things got too real, I continue, my voice steady but pointed. Ran when you thought you might need someone. Her eyes flash. That's not what happened. I lift a brow, isn't it? She shakes her head. You don't get to act like you know me anymore. I step closer, my voice dropping. I knew you better than anyone, Lucy. She swallows, her breath hitching slightly, and I see it. The crack in her armor, the part of her that remembers. She looks up at me, her voice softer now. You don't know me anymore, Dex. I hold her gaze. Maybe not. Then slowly, she steps back. I don't stop her this time. I just watch as she straightens her shoulders, presses her glasses up her nose, and nods. It was good seeing you. I exhale. Yeah. She turns, walking away, disappearing into the crowd. She doesn't get to run forever.
Chapter 13. Lucy. I don't stop walking until I'm outside. The second I step into the cool night air, I let out a shaky breath, pressing a hand against my chest like that'll somehow steady my heart. It doesn't. I shouldn't have come tonight. I knew this would happen. I knew seeing Dexter again would be dangerous. And yet, I walked right into it. And now I feel raw. I exhale, rubbing my temple. He got under my skin. Again. The way he looked at me, the way he saw me, like nothing had changed. Like I hadn't spent the last 16 years building walls so he couldn't get to me again. And I almost let them fall. But I can't. I won't. I tighten my grip on my clutch, my mind racing. I should go. I should get in my car, go home, and forget this night ever happened. But before I can move, I hear footsteps. And then... loose. My stomach clenches. I keep my voice steady. I'm not running. Dexter chuckles, low and deep. Then why does it look like you are? I take a slow breath, forcing myself to turn and face him. He's standing just a few feet away, hands in his pockets, looking at me like he knows exactly what I'm thinking. Like he always did. I lift my chin. What do you want, Dexter? He tilts his head, studying me. The truth. I swallow hard. About what? His blue eyes don't waver. About us. My throat goes dry. I shake my head, forcing out a laugh. There is no us, Dex. Not anymore. He steps closer, and I swear I feel the air shift between us. Nonsense. I exhale sharply. Dexter. No, he says, voice firm. You don't get to do that. You don't get to act like this. He gestures between us. Isn't real. I grip my clutch so tight my knuckles ache. I swallow hard. It doesn't matter if it's real. His brow furrows. Why the hell not? I sigh, shaking my head. Because it's too late. Dexter exhales sharply, rubbing a hand over his jaw. You really believe that? I force myself to nod. Because it has to be too late. Because if it's not, then I don't know what to do. He watches me for a second, his jaw tight. Then, softer, he says, I loved you, Lucy. I flinch. That is cruel. Dexter. No, he says, shaking his head. I need you to hear me. I loved you. And when you left, I spent years trying to understand why. I spent years thinking I wasn't enough for you. My chest aches. I swallow, forcing my voice to stay even. That's not why I left. His jaw clenches. Then tell me why. I inhale sharply, looking away. Because if I tell him the truth, if I say it out loud, then I can't take it back. Then we're not just two people trying to pretend we don't still feel this. Then we're something else entirely. I exhale. Because I was scared. Silent. I force myself to look up at him, my pulse pounding in my ears. His brows draw together, his expression shifting. Scared of what? I swallow. Of what they do, of what you do. He tilts his head, his voice careful. You think I would have let them take her? My throat tightens. I shake my head. No, I think they would have forced you to choose. His eyes darken. And you didn't think I'd choose you? I let out a shaky breath. I didn't want to make you choose, Dexter. He exhales, stepping closer. You should have let me. I shake my head. I couldn't. His jaw tightens. You should have told me. My heart's aching. I know. His eyes search mine, and I think he might touch me, that he might reach for me the way he used to, the way I still dream about. But he doesn't. Instead, he nods, stepping back. All right, he says, his voice rough. I needed to hear that. Dexter. He holds up a hand, shaking his head. I'm not mad, Luce. I blink. You're not? He exhales. I was, for a long time. But now, he shakes his head. Now I just get it. I swallow. And what do you get? He tilts his head. That maybe it's not too late.
Chapter 14. Dexter. I should walk away. I should, but I don't. Instead, I stand here watching Lucy, trying to read the flicker of something in her expression. Something she won't say. Something she's too damn scared to admit. I told her the truth. That I get it now. That I finally understand why she left. But understanding it doesn't mean I can just forget. And it sure as hell doesn't mean I can pretend like seeing her again doesn't wreck me. She shifts, adjusting her glasses, a nervous tick I remember all too well. You're looking at me like you're expecting something, she mutters, crossing her arms. I smirk, tilting my head. Maybe I am. Dexter, you're not running this time. Her lips pressed together, her gaze snapping back to mine. I told you I wasn't running. I step closer. Then what are you doing? She hesitates, and I see it, that flicker of uncertainty, that hesitation that tells me she doesn't know the answer. She doesn't know what to do with this. With us. I lean in slightly, my voice lower now. You're staying loose. Her breath catches. I see the way she stiffens, the way she clenches her jaw like she's trying to hold on to whatever stubborn reasoning is keeping her from giving in. But I also see the way her fingers twitch, the way her chest rises and falls a little too quickly. I don't miss a damn thing. She swallows, looking up at me. This is dangerous. I smirk. You always did like dangerous. She huffs out a weak laugh, shaking her head. I used to be reckless. I lift a brow. And now? She exhales. Now I'm a mother. I nod slowly, watching her. So you're scared?
She straightens, eyes flashing. I didn't say that.
I tilt my head. You didn't have to. She glares at me, but there's no real anger behind it. Just frustration. Because she knows I'm right. I take another step closer, closing the space between us, lowering my voice. I still know you, Lucy. She lets out a slow breath, shaking her head. You think you do? I reach out, gently brushing a loose curl behind her ear. She doesn't pull away. I smirk. Prove me wrong. She steps back, just an inch, but enough to put distance between us. I'm not doing this with you. I lift a brow. Doing what? She shakes her head. This thing? This push and pull? This whatever the hell this is? I nod, shoving my hands into my pockets. You mean this thing that still feels real? Her throat bobs. It can't be real. Says who? She exhales, pressing her fingers against her temple. Dex, I don't have time for this. I step closer again, and this time I see it. The way her breath hitches. The way her body leans in before she catches herself. She wants this. She just doesn't know how to let herself want it. I lower my voice. What are you so afraid of? Her eyes snap to mine, sharp and unsteady. Losing. Again. The answer punches me straight in the chest, because that's it. That's the thing she's been trying not to say. She doesn't just fear me. She fears this. Us. Because we crashed once, and she's convinced we'll do it again. I inhale slowly, running a hand down my jaw. You don't have to be afraid, Luce. She laughs. Oh, come on, Dexter. Don't act like this is simple. I shrug. Maybe it is. She throws her hands up. It's not. I watch her, my voice softer now. Because you don't trust it. She exhales, looking away. I nod, stepping back. Okay. She frowns, glancing at me. What? I lift a shoulder. You don't trust it? Fine. Then let me earn it. Her lips part slightly, like she wasn't expecting that. I step forward again, slow and steady. I'm here, Luce. I'm not going anywhere, not this time. She watches me, her eyes unreadable. Then, after a beat, she exhales, shaking her head. I hate you. I smirk. No, you don't. Her lips twitch, but she presses them together, determined to keep whatever walls she has left standing. I don't push. I don't need to, because I see it. I feel it. This isn't over, and not even close. I know, without a doubt. She's not going to run. Not this time.
Chapter 15. Lucy. I don't know how I end up in my car, gripping the steering wheel like it's the only thing keeping me from spiraling. 1 minute, I'm standing in front of Dexter, feeling everything I shouldn't feel. The next, I'm here, heart racing, hands shaking. I should be angry. I should be furious at him for waltzing back into my life and looking at me like 16 years apart means nothing. Like time didn't change us. Like we can just fall back into old rhythms, pick up where we left off. Like I didn't spend years learning how to live without him. I press my fingers against my temples, taking a slow breath. He said he wants to earn my trust. Like that's something he can just do. Like this is some kind of challenge he's willing to take on. Like I'm some prize he's willing to fight for. It's not that simple. It's never been that simple. I squeeze my eyes shut, exhaling sharply. Because the truth, I don't hate that he wants to try. I hate that I want to let him. I shake my head, gripping the steering wheel tighter. This is insane. I spent so long trying to move forward. I built a life, a good life. I have a daughter I adore, a career I worked my butt off for, a home that's mine. And yet, one run-in with the Dexter Lane, and I feel like I'm 18 again, standing at the edge of something terrifying and beautiful and too damn big to handle. A sharp knock on my window makes me jump. My eyes snap open, and my heart stutters when I see him. Dexter, standing outside my car, hands in his pockets, watching me like he knows, like he sees what's happening inside my head. I take a slow breath, rolling down the window. What are you doing? He smirks. Making sure you didn't peel out of here like you just saw a ghost. I scowl. I stop myself, pressing my lips together. I wasn't running. His brows lift. You were. I sigh, rubbing my temple. Dex, I really don't have the energy for this. He leans against the car, tilting his head. For what? I give him a look. For you. He huffs out a laugh, shaking his head. Yeah, well, too bad. I exhale sharply. Dexter. Lucy. He cuts me off, his voice softer now. Just let me talk. I'm gripping the steering wheel. Fine. He watches me for a second, then exhales. I meant what I said. I look away. You say a lot of things. He smirks. Yeah, but this one matters. I shake my head, staring straight ahead. And what exactly do you think you're earning back, Dex? He tilts his head. You tell me. I scoff. Seriously? His voice stays calm, steady. What do you want me to say, Luce? I finally look at him, my chest tight. That this is stupid. He lifts a brow. You want me to lie? I huff, shaking my head. You want to pretend like 16 years didn't happen? Like you didn't move on? Like I didn't have to? His jaw clenches slightly. I never moved on. My breath catches. For a second, I forget how to breathe. Because he says it so easily, so damn certainly, like it's a fact he never questioned. I swallow hard, looking away. That's not fair. His voice drops. No, it's the truth. I shake my head. Dex. I mean it, Lucy. He steps closer, resting his forearm against the open window. I never stopped thinking about you. I never wanted to move on. Because how do I handle this? This honesty? This Dexter? I spent years convincing myself that time changed him, that the boy I loved had turned into someone I could let go of. But standing here looking at him now, he's not different. Not really. He's older. He's sharper around the edges. But underneath it all, he's still the boy who used to kiss me like I was his favorite thing in the world. And if I let myself think about it for too long, I might remember what that felt like. I inhale slowly, trying to find steady ground. What do you want from me? His expression softens. A chance. My throat tightens. I shake my head. I don't. He leans in just slightly, his voice low. You don't what? I swallow. I don't know how. He exhales, nodding slowly. Okay. I blink. Okay? He lifts a shoulder. Okay, so we figure it out. I stare at him, searching for the catch, for the trick, for the moment he realizes this is ridiculous, but I don't find it. All I see is him, steady, unshaken, and maybe for the first time in a long, long time, I believe him.
You think you can catch me? You think you can tame me?
Oh, I know I can. And you know it too, baby.
I gotta tell you, you're not the first to try.
But don't worry, baby. I'll be the last.
With sass like that, maybe I'll be the one that needs to tame you.
Let's cut to the chase, big boy. What you selling me?
Your appetite is big AF. I have just the thing that'll satisfy you.
Oh, really? And what's that?
Over 120 hours of romance audiobooks. Brought to you by Tyla Walker Romances in the Big AF audio bundle.
120 hours? That sounds amazing.
Your knees won't work afterwards if I do my job right.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Well, I can keep this promise. Because these audiobooks are unabridged with all the spicy scenes that will make you put your earbuds on. You know, Tyla can get freaky because she marked the bundle down by 69% for a limited time.
I can't wait to take this bundle for a ride.
Visit TylaWalker.com and get this audio bundle. Just don't start listening if you're going to be cooking dinner. Because you might just forget to feed your family.
TylaWalker.com. Escape your life with Tyla.
Chapter 16, Dexter. I don't know what I expected Lucy to say, but it sure as hell wasn't I don't know how. That hits me harder than I want to admit. She's standing there, gripping the steering wheel like she's holding on for dear life, like letting go would mean falling. And I get it. I do. Because standing here looking at her, I feel like I'm falling too. But maybe that's the difference between us. I'm not scared of the landing. She is. I lean against the car, keeping my voice steady. We don't have to figure it all out tonight. She exhales, pressing her lips together. Dex... No. Listen. I cut her off gently. I'm not asking you to make some huge decision right now. I rub the back of my neck. I just want you to try. Her throat bobs, her eyes flicking to mine. And if I can't, I lift a brow. Can or won't. She shakes her head. You're impossible. I smirk. And you're stubborn. She huffs, muttering under her breath. Always have been. I nod. And yet here you are. Her eyes snap back to mine. What's that supposed to mean? I tilt my head, studying her. You could have walked away from this conversation 5 minutes ago. She glares. Maybe I should have. I grin. But you didn't. She sighs, frustrated, but there's no real fight in it. She's here. She's staying. I lean in slightly, my voice dropping. You're thinking about it, aren't you? She stiffens. Thinking about what? I smirk, giving this a shot. She scoffs. You're delusional. Nah, I just know you. She lifts her chin. Not as well as you think you do. I cross my arms. Then tell me I'm wrong. She exhales, looking away. I wait. 1 second. 2. She doesn't say it. She can't say it. And that tells me everything. I step closer, my voice softer now. We're not the same people we were back then, Luce. She swallows, still not meeting my eyes. Exactly. I shake my head. No, you're missing the point. She finally looks up, her expression guarded. Then what's the point? I hold her gaze, my chest tight. We're better now. She blinks, caught off guard. What? I nod, stepping closer. We're older, smarter. We know what's at stake this time. She shakes her head, exhaling sharply. Dexter, you're acting like this is easy. I lift a brow, and you're acting like it's impossible. Her fingers tighten on the wheel, her jaw clenching. Because it feels impossible. I tilt my head. Does it? She doesn't answer right away. She just looks at me. She lets her guard drop. I see it. The fear. The hope. The war happening inside her. I take a slow breath. Do you know what I thought when I saw you walk into that event? She swallows. What? I smirk slightly. That you were the most beautiful thing in the room. Her lips part slightly, her eyes searching mine. I take another step, my voice lower now. And do you know what I thought the second after that? She shakes her head. That I was screwed. She blinks, thrown. Dexter, because no matter how much time passed, no matter how much I tried to forget you, you still owned me. Her breath catches. I lean in, my lips inches from hers. And you still do, Lucy. She closes her eyes for a second, like she's trying to block it all out, like she knows she's losing this fight. I smirk, brushing my knuckles against her cheek. Say the word, Luce. She swallows hard. What word? I tilt my head. Stay. She opens her mouth, but nothing comes out. I wait, because I will wait for her, for as long as she needs. She exhales, her gaze locked on mine, her hand still gripping the wheel. Then, finally, she lets go. She exhales, whispering, Okay? Just like that, we're starting again.
Chapter 17. Lucy. I don't know how we got here. 1 minute I'm gripping the steering wheel, trying to hold on to my logic, my sense, the life I built without Dexter. The next, I'm looking at him, really looking at him, and I realize I never stood a chance. Not against him. Not against this. Not when he still knows exactly how to unravel me. I should have walked away. I should have. But when I whispered okay, when I let those walls fall, even just a little, I felt it. That pull, that same feeling I had when I was 17, standing on my parents' porch, letting him kiss me breathless under a flickering streetlight. And suddenly, I don't know if I'm strong enough to fight it. Dexter's watching me now, his expression unreadable, his knuckles grazing my cheek like he's waiting for me to take it back. To tell him this is a mistake, but I don't. I can't. I swallow, forcing out a breath. What now? His lips twitch like he wasn't expecting the question, like he doesn't want to scare me off by saying the wrong thing. He tilts his head. What do you want to happen? I exhale sharply, looking away. Dex. His voice softens. No pressure, Luce, just be honest. I clench my jaw, my stomach twisting. Honesty is dangerous. Honesty is how I ended up in love with him in the first place. I press my fingers against my temples. I don't know. He nods like he was expecting that. Then we take it slow. I huff out a laugh, shaking my head. Slow? We don't do slow, Dexter. He grins, leaning against the car. We can. I lift a brow. Since when? His smirk softens, and something flickers in his eyes. Since I know what it's like to lose you. My breath catches. I swallow hard, my throat tight. Because I feel that in my bones. I was so busy carrying my own pain, my own regrets, that I never thought about what it did to him. I never let myself think about his grief. What it must have been like to wake up one day and realize I was just gone. He exhales slowly, rubbing the back of his neck. I'm not making that mistake again, Lucy. I shake my head. Dexter, it wasn't a mistake. He lifts a brow. Wasn't it? I press my lips together. I thought I was doing the right thing. He tilts his head. And now? I exhale. Now I don't know anything. He chuckles under his breath, nodding. Then slowly he lifts his hand, offering it to me. Not demanding, not forcing, just offering. A choice. I stare at it, my stomach flipping. I could say no. I could end this here. Go back to my life, my safe little world where Dexter Lane is just a ghost of my past. But if I do that, if I walk away now, I don't think I'll ever stop wondering. I don't think I'll ever stop feeling like I left something unfinished. Hesitantly, I place my hand in his. His fingers tighten around mine immediately, like he was waiting for this, like he knew. And just like that, I'm in trouble. He takes me to a little diner outside of town. It's nothing fancy, not like the event last night, the one he held for our daughter that seemed to become about us instead. But May had a good time, if not a little nervous. She crashed shortly after we got home, too exhausted to hear me sneak out like I'm the teenager, and she's the mom. No, this is just a quiet, hole-in-the-wall kind of place with cracked vinyl booths and a flickering neon sign out front. We slide into a booth, and it almost feels like we're kids again. Like nothing changed. Like I didn't run. Like he didn't hate me for it. The waitress brings us coffee, and Dexter smirks when I immediately dump 3 packets of sugar into mine. I lift a brow. What? He shakes his head. You still do that? I take a slow sip. Some things don't change. His gaze flickers. Yeah. Something tight sits between us for a second, thick and unspoken. I clear my throat, setting my cup down. So, slow, huh? He smirks, tilting his head. That a complaint? I huff out a laugh. No, just weird coming from you. His grin softens. I can be patient, Lucy. I lift a brow. Since when? He leans back in the booth, watching me. Since you? My breath stumbles. I look down at my coffee, trying to steady myself. Dex? He tilts his head. Talk to me, Luce. I exhale, rubbing my thumb against the ceramic mug. I'm unsure of how to do this with you. He nods. That's okay. I blink. It is? He smirks. Yeah, because I do. I huff out a laugh, shaking my head. Of course you do. He leans forward, his voice lower now. I'm not in a rush, Luce. I swallow, looking up at him. He's serious. There's no pressure, no expectation. Just him. Waiting. I nod. Okay. His lips twitch. Yeah? I smirk. Yeah. And for once I feel like maybe, just maybe, I don't have to be afraid anymore.
Chapter 18. Dexter. Lucy is sitting across from me in a crappy vinyl booth, stirring sugar into her coffee like she's waiting for the moment I break this spell we're under. Like she's expecting it. Like any second now, I'll ruin this, and she'll have the perfect excuse to put her walls back up and run. But I'm not giving her an excuse. Not this time. She thinks I don't know her anymore, but she's wrong. She's still the same Lucy who chews on her bottom lip when she's thinking too hard. The same Lucy who avoids eye contact when she's feeling too much. The same Lucy who feels everything but never lets herself show it. And now, she's sitting here, pretending like she's not waiting for me to disappoint her. But I won't. I can't. I take a slow sip of my coffee, watching her. So, tell me something. She lifts a brow. Something what? I tilt my head. Something about you. She snorts, shaking her head. Dexter, you know plenty about me. I smirk. Yeah? Then why does it feel like I'm talking to a stranger? She tenses just for a second. Then she exhales, rolling her shoulders back. Because people change, Dex. I nod. Sure, but not who they are. Her lips press together like she wants to argue, but she doesn't. Instead, she reaches for her coffee, taking a slow sip, avoiding my gaze. I lean forward, my voice softer now. What's your favorite book now? She blinks, caught off guard. What? I lift a shoulder. Back in high school, you couldn't shut up about Pride and Prejudice. She smirks. Still a classic. I nod. But is it still your favorite? She hesitates, and I see it. That flicker of surprise. I tilt my head. Luce? She exhales, setting her cup down. I don't know. I guess I don't have time to read much anymore. I lift a brow. That's a damn shame. She chuckles under her breath, shaking her head. Not all of us get to be billionaire CEOs with endless free time. I smirk. Who said I have free time? She lifts a brow. You're sitting in a diner with me, drinking coffee at midnight. I'd call that free time. I grin. Maybe I just have priorities. She shakes her head, looking away. You're impossible. She glares, but there's no real fight in it. She wants to be mad at me, but she can't. Because she knows that this is still us. Time didn't kill it. Distance didn't erase it. It's still there, humming between us, waiting for her to stop fighting it. I set my cup down, tilting my head. You ever think about us, Luce? She stiffens. Dex, be honest. She exhales, staring down at the table. Of course I do. My chest tightens. Yeah. She nods, her voice barely above a whisper. Yeah. I run a hand down my jaw, watching her. And what do you think about? She swallows, still not looking at me. I think about what could have been. I nod slowly. Me too. She lets out a breath, her hands fidgeting against her mug. But thinking about it doesn't change anything. I tilt my head. Doesn't it? She finally looks at me, her eyes sharp. No, Dex, it doesn't. Because at the end of the day, we still lost 16 years. I nod, my voice steady. But we have right now. Her throat bobs. She shakes her head, frustrated. It's not that simple. I lean forward, my voice lower now. It is. She lets out a humorless laugh. God, you really believe that, don't you? I smirk. Yeah, and you want to believe it too. She blinks like I just pulled a thought straight from her head. She looks away, swallowing. I don't push. I just let the silence settle between us. Then, softly, she says, I don't know if I can trust it. I nod. Then let me prove it to you. She exhales, shaking her head. Dexter, I'm not expecting you to fall for me overnight, Luce. I smirk, even though we both know that's inevitable. She scoffs, rolling her eyes. You're unbelievable. I chuckle. And you love it. She presses her lips together, trying so hard not to smile. But I see it. The fight in her fading. The walls starting to crack. And I know. She's already halfway mine again. She just doesn't realize it yet. I tilt my head, watching her. Let's just try, Lucy. She exhales, rubbing her temple. Try what? I lean in slightly. This. Us. Her fingers tighten around her mug. And if it doesn't work, I smirk. Then at least we'll know. She watches me carefully, her eyes scanning my face like she's looking for a trap. But there isn't one. Not this time. I mean every damn word. I see the moment she realizes it. The moment she lets herself believe it. She inhales sharply, then barely above a whisper, she says, "Okay."
Chapter 19, Lucy. The second the word okay leaves my lips, I know I can't take it back. And maybe I don't want to. Dexter watches me like he's waiting for me to realize what I just said, to change my mind, to backtrack like I always do. But I don't. I can't. Because for the first time in 16 years, I don't want to run. That realization settles deep in my chest and it terrifies me. Because I know what loving him feels like. It feels like fire. Like a free fall. Like something too big to hold. Too wild to tame. And now, after all this time, after all this distance, I just agreed to let it back in. Dexter smirks. Like he knows. Like he just won something. I glare. Wipe that look off your face. He lifts his hands in a mock innocence. What look? I narrow my eyes. The one that says, I knew she'd cave. His grin widens. Didn't you? I huff out a breath, shaking my head. I should have made you suffer a little longer. He chuckles, leaning back in the booth. You already did, sweetheart. My stomach flips at the way he says that. Sweetheart. Like it still belongs to me. I shake my head, pushing past it. So what now? He tilts his head. Now we try. I roll my eyes. Yeah. But what does that even mean? He lifts a brow. You want me to spell it out for you? I cross my arms. Yes. He leans in, voice lower now. It means I take you out. I remind you why you loved me in the first place. My heart leaps into my throat. He notices. His smirk deepens. Cocky bastard. I scowl, gripping my coffee cup. I hate you. He chuckles. No, you don't. I sigh, shaking my head. God, you're infuriating. He shrugs. Nothing new there. I roll my eyes. Fine. You want to take me out? He grins. Absolutely. I huff. Then it better be good. He lifts a brow. Define good. I smirk. Something that doesn't involve you showing off how disgustingly rich you are. He clutches his chest like I just wounded him. Wow. That cuts deep, Reynolds. I grin. Good. He shakes his head, laughing under his breath. All right. No billionaire flexes. Got it. I nod. No expensive restaurants, no private chefs, no 5-star anything. He smirks. Damn, there go my plans for a private jet dinner over the city. I scoff. I knew you were dramatic. He grins. Only for you, sweetheart. Again with that. My chest tightens. I look away trying to catch my breath. Because the way he says it, so damn effortlessly, is dangerous. It makes me feel like we never lost each other. Like we never broke. Like we never spent 16 years apart. Living separate lives, trying to pretend we were fine. Trying to pretend that I was fine, and raising our daughter by myself. I clear my throat. So, where are you taking me? He tilts his head, studying me. You trust me? I blink. What? He leans in slightly. Do you trust me, Luce? I swallow. Because that's the real question, isn't it? Not do I want this. Not can I handle this? But do I trust him enough to let him in again? I inhale slowly, then barely above a whisper. I think I'm trying to. His smirk fades. He nods, something shifting in his expression. That's enough for now. Because suddenly Dexter Lane doesn't scare me. The way he makes me feel, now that's a different story. When Dexter told me he'd planned the date, I expected something ridiculous. A yacht, a rooftop dinner, some over-the-top romantic gesture that would make me roll my eyes. What I didn't expect was him showing up at my house with a bag of takeout and a mischievous glint in his eyes. I cross my arms, eyeing him. This is your big date? He smirks. Trust the process, Luce. I shake my head, stepping aside to let him in. He strolls in like he belongs here, like 16 years don't exist between us. I try to ignore the way my chest tightens at that. I shut the door, watching as he sets the food on the coffee table. I arch a brow. So what's the plan? He grins. Ever heard of a rewatch? I blink. A what? He plops down on my couch like it's his, patting the spot next to him. We're watching 10 Things I Hate About You. I gape at him. You remember that? He smirks. Of course I do. I shake my head, trying to process this. That was our movie. He nods. Still is. I exhale, pressing my lips together. Because I shouldn't be affected by this. I shouldn't care that he remembers. But I do. I sigh, moving to sit next to him. Fine, but if you start quoting Heath Ledger's lines, I'm kicking you out. He smirks. No promises. I roll my eyes, reaching for the takeout. The movie starts, and for a while it's easy. It's just two people sitting on a couch, eating cheap Chinese food, watching a film we used to love. But halfway through, something shifts. Somewhere between Kat's speech and the final scene, I feel it. Dexter's arm draped lazily over the couch behind me, his thigh barely brushing mine. The warmth of him, seeping into me, making it impossible to ignore the weight of what this is, what this could be. I swallow hard, glancing at him. He's already looking at me, his blue eyes dark, unreadable. I inhale sharply. Dex, and then he leans in, slow, uncertain, like he's giving me time to stop him, to push him away, to tell him that this can't happen. But I don't, because in this moment, with the past behind us and the future still unwritten, I don't want to fight it anymore. I want this. I want him. So when his lips brush mine, I don't pull away. I lean in. Chapter 20. Lucy. Dexter kisses me like he's remembering something. Like he's retracing a map we lost a long time ago. Relearning all the places we used to go. All the ways we used to fit. And I let him. Because the second his lips brush mine, the second I feel the warmth of him, the weight of him, all of it. I forget why I ever wanted to fight this in the first place. His fingers graze my jaw, tilting my face to his like he wants more. Like he's trying to remind me that we were never finished. And I feel it, in the way his breath hitches, in the way my hands move up his chest, gripping his shirt without realizing it, in the way his thumb strokes my cheek, like he's trying to convince himself I'm really here, that this is really happening. I'm glad May wanted to stay at her friend's house tonight. Then, too soon, too fast, he pulls back. His forehead rests against mine, his breathing uneven, his hand still on my jaw. I can't open my eyes yet, because if I do, if I see him, I'll have to face what I just did. What we just did. He exhales, his voice lower now. Luce, I shake my head. Don't. His brows furrow. Don't what? I force myself to open my eyes, to look at him. He looks wrecked. Not in a bad way, not in a regretful way, but in a holy crap, what did we just do? kind of way. I know, because I feel the same. I swallow hard, my fingers still clutching the fabric of his shirt. We weren't supposed to do that. He lifts a brow. Says who? I laugh. Common sense? He smirks. Yeah, well, common sense never really applied to us. I shake my head, trying to ignore the way my pulse refuses to settle. Dex. His fingers tighten slightly on my jaw. Tell me you didn't want that, and I'll leave it alone. Because I can't. I can't say that. And we both know it. He tilts his head. Lucy. I inhale sharply, looking away. It's just a lot. He nods slowly. I know. I finally let go of his shirt, smoothing my hands over my lap, grounding myself. I told you I needed to try, not jump head first into. I gesture between us. This? He leans back slightly, watching me carefully. I didn't plan on kissing you tonight. I lift a brow. You didn't? He grins. No, I was planning on waiting at least another 2 dates. I huff out a laugh, shaking my head. Wow, so much self-control. He chuckles, his eyes dropping to my lips for a second before flicking back up. Turns out I don't have much when it comes to you. I swallow, ignoring the way my heart flutters at that. I press my hands against my thighs, trying to breathe, trying to find logic in a moment that feels like it's running on nothing but feeling. I need space. I need time to think. I need to not be sitting on this couch with him looking at me like he remembers how I taste. I clear my throat. I should probably... He leans back, giving me room. Yeah. But neither of us moves, because we both know that the second I stand up, the second I walk away, it'll feel like a line has been drawn. A step forward or a step back. And I don't know which one I'm supposed to take. I finally push myself up from the couch, adjusting my glasses, pressing my fingers against my temples. Okay, so that happened. Dexter tilts his head. You gonna overanalyze it? I lift a brow. You know I am. He smirks, shaking his head. Can't wait for that internal meltdown. I glare. Shut up. He laughs, standing too. Come on. I'll walk you to the door. I cross my arms, lifting a brow. You do realize this is my house, right? He grins. Exactly. Which means I have to leave at some point, and I don't trust you not to slam the door in my face. I huff. I haven't decided. He chuckles, but there's something softer in his expression now. Something careful. Something that makes me feel warm in a way I can't handle. He walks me to the door, like an actual gentleman, which annoys me just a little, and I open it, letting the cool night air rush in between us. He shoves his hands in his pockets, watching me. You okay? I nod. Yeah. He tilts his head. You sure? I exhale, pressing my lips together. I don't know. He smirks. Honest, I like it. I roll my eyes. You would. He chuckles, stepping back. All right, go have your meltdown, overanalyze every second of that kiss, and then call me when you realize you want to do it again. I gape at him. You're ridiculous. He grins. Sweetheart, you kiss me back. I groan, shoving at his chest. Get out. He laughs, stepping onto the porch. Good night, Lucy. I shake my head, crossing my arms. Good night, Dexter. He hesitates for a second, like he wants to say something else. Then he exhales, gives me one last smirk, and walks to his car. I watch him go, my heart pounding, my mind spinning, my lips still tingling.
Chapter 21. Dexter. I replayed the kiss 100 times on the drive home, every second of it. The way Lucy hesitated, just for a beat before leaning in. The way her hands curled into my shirt like she didn't even realize she was holding on. The way she tasted like sugar and coffee and something achingly familiar. And the way she didn't push me away. Yeah, she might overanalyze this to death, might spend the next few days convincing herself it was a mistake, but I felt it. She felt it. And there's no denying it now. I pull into my driveway and shut off the engine, gripping the steering wheel. I haven't felt like this in years. Hopeful. Sure. Like no matter how long it took, no matter how much time we lost, we were always going to end up back here. Together. I step inside my house, flipping on the lights, but it feels different now. Like the space is too big, too empty. Like I don't want to be here. Not when I could still be sitting on Lucy's couch, teasing her about how much she overthinks things, watching her roll her eyes even though she likes it. I run a hand through my hair, heading straight for the kitchen. I pour myself a drink, but I don't take a sip. I just stand there, staring at the glass, knowing damn well that nothing I pour into it will settle the ache in my chest. Because I miss her. I never stopped. I pull out my phone before I can talk myself out of it, my thumb hovering over her name. I shouldn't text her. I should give her space, but since when have I ever been patient when it comes to Lucy Reynolds? I smirked to myself, typing out a message. Dexter. Don't think too hard, sweetheart. It was a good kiss. I hit send before I can second guess it. A few seconds later, the little dots appear, then disappear, then appear again. I grin, already picturing the look on her face. Glasses slipping down her nose, biting her lip, trying to figure out how to deal with me. Then the message pops up. Lucy, go to sleep, Dexter. Dexter, can't. Too busy replaying that moment where you melted into me. This time, her response is immediate. Lucy, good night. I smirk, tossing my phone onto the counter. Because no matter what she says, I know her. And right now, she's thinking about it just as much as I am. I don't hear from Lucy the next day, and I let her have her space. But by the time day 2 rolls around, I'm done waiting. I park outside her office and send a quick text. Dexter, come downstairs. A minute passes. Then, Lucy, excuse me? I grin, leaning against my car. Dexter, you heard me. I'm outside. Lucy, Dexter, I'm at work. Dexter, so? A long pause. Then, Lucy, you are so arrogant. Dexter, but you're still going to come down. I stand there watching the dots dance up and down. Lucy, give me 5 minutes. I chuckle, sliding my phone into my pocket. 5 minutes later, the glass doors of her office swing open, and there she is, hair pinned back, glasses perched on her nose, looking so damn professional I almost feel bad for showing up in jeans and a t-shirt. Almost. She walks toward me, her heels clicking against the pavement, arms crossed like she's already planning to lecture me. I grin. Hey, sweetheart. She stops in front of me, lifting a brow. What do you want, Dexter? I shrug. Lunch? She blinks. Lunch? I nod, all casual. Yeah, you know, that thing where people eat food in the middle of the day. She exhales sharply. Dex. I cut her off, smirking. It's just food, Luce. No pressure, no expectations. Just you and me sitting at a table, chewing things. She glares. You're really not funny. In fact, I hate you. I chuckle. Yeah, so is that a yes? She's eyeing me like she's trying to figure out if this is a trap. She sighs. Fine. I grin. Atta girl. We're sitting in a little cafe down the street, 2 sandwiches between us, and Lucy is watching me like I'm the problem. I smirk. You keep looking at me like that, Reynolds, and I'm gonna think you like me. She scoffs. I used to like you. Big difference. I chuckle, leaning back in my chair. So what I'm hearing is there's hope. She groans, rubbing her temples. Why am I here? I shrug. Because you wanted to be. She glares, pointing a finger at me. You tricked me. I lift a brow. Into eating a sandwich? Damn. I am good. She sighs, shaking her head, but I catch the way her lips twitch, the way she's fighting the smile. I tilt my head. Luce? She exhales, looking down at her food. What? I lean forward, voice softer now. You don't have to fight it so hard. She stills. Then, so quietly, I almost miss it. Dex, I've been holding on to it for so long that I can't let go. Something clenches in my chest. I nod, watching her carefully. Let me help you, Luce. Let me in. Okay.
This is it, baby. This is what you can get me that'll make me happy.
You know I'll get you whatever you want. All you need to do is ask me and I'll give it to you.
This ain't just it. This is everything I could ever want.
Now I'm curious. What does a strong, sassy woman like yourself want so badly?
Baby, you know what I want?
I can't wait to hear.
The Big Baddie bundle from Tyla Walker. It has everything I need.
20 ebooks with over 1 million words of sassy romance and spice that'll keep you on your toes.
10 audiobooks containing over 60 hours of that seductive voice telling me naughty things all night long.
You don't need an audiobook for that, baby. Right here.
You may be fine and all, but no one tells it like the way Miss Tyla does. And I need her in my life.
The Big Baddie bundle is everything you need. You can get it for 80% off.
Go to TylaWalker.com to browse the bundles that earn you the best deals.
It's time you treat yourself. Because you deserve it.
Escape your life with Miss Tyla.
Chapter 22. Dexter. She says, okay. And just like that, something shifts. It's not loud. Not some dramatic moment where fireworks explode and the world stops spinning. It's quiet, subtle, but I feel it. Like a weight I didn't realize I was carrying has finally been lifted. Like I can finally breathe. I watch her, waiting for her to take it back, to panic, to retreat into that overactive mind of hers, and find a way to talk herself out of this. But she doesn't. She just sits there, exhaling slowly, like she's trying to accept the words that just came out of her own mouth. I smirk, tilting my head. So what does okay mean exactly? She glares. Don't ruin this moment, Dexter. I chuckle. Just need to be clear, sweetheart. She shakes her head, but there's something lighter about her now. Something a little less rigid. Like maybe, just maybe, she's starting to believe this isn't a mistake. I nudge her knee with mine. Okay, as in, let's give this a real shot. She exhales sharply. Yes, I grin. Okay, as in we're officially dating again? She groans, covering her face. Oh my God. I chuckle, prying her hands away. Hey, you started this, Reynolds. I'm just getting my details in order. She's looking at me through narrowed eyes. You're gonna milk this, aren't you? I smirk. Oh, absolutely. I lean back against the booth, stretching my arms across the top. So, now that we're officially dating? She lifts a brow. Are we, though? I grin. You just said yes, Lucy. No takebacks. Fine. We're dating. I smirk. Say it again. She groans, getting up and walking away. No. I laugh, tossing cash onto the table and catching up to her at the door, just making sure you meant it. She glares, walking through the door as I hold it open for her. I will fight you. I lift a brow. You could just kiss me instead. Her breath catches. I see it. The way her fingers tighten at her sides, the way her lips part slightly. She swallows, eyes flicking to mine. Tex. I tilt my head. What? She exhales and starts forward again. I don't want to rush this. I follow after her as she walks toward my car. We're not rushing. She stops beside it and searches my face like she's looking for a catch. but there isn't one. I mean, every damn word. I reach out, brushing my fingers over the back of her hand. We do this at your pace, Luce. She watches me, her expression softening. Yeah? I nod. Yeah. She exhales, looking down at where my fingers are barely touching hers. Then, slowly, hesitantly, she turns her palm up, letting our hands fit together. Something tight pulls in my chest. It's such a small thing, barely a touch. But it feels big. Like an agreement, like a step forward. Like she's finally letting herself have this. I tighten my grip slightly, watching her. See? No pressure. She shakes her head, but this time she smiles. And God, I missed that smile. The real one. The one she used to give me back when I was her favorite person in the world. I don't say anything else. I just sit there, my fingers wrapped around hers, letting her feel this, letting her believe it. Because I already do. I've believed it since the second I saw her again. And now she's starting to believe it too. And that's all I need. I'm lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every second of tonight in my head. I should be sleeping. I should be calm. But my brain won't shut the hell up. Because for the first time in 16 years, Lucy Reynolds is mine again. She said yes, she chose this. And I feel like I'm standing at the start of something huge. Something that's been waiting for us to find our way back. My phone buzzes on the nightstand. I frown, reaching for it. A text from Lucy. Lucy, I hate that you were right. I smirk, rolling onto my side. Dexter, you'll have to be more specific, sweetheart. I'm right about a lot of things. Lucy, I like this. I like us. And I hate that you knew I would before I did. My chest tightens, but I grin, typing back. Dexter, get used to it, babe. I'm always one step ahead. Her reply comes almost instantly. Lucy, oh, don't push it. Then, before I can stop myself, I type out one more message. Dexter, good night, girlfriend. She doesn't respond right away. Lucy, I'm blocking your number. I laugh, setting my phone down, knowing damn well she's smiling on the other end.
Chapter 23. Lucy. I stare at my phone for a long time after Dexter's last text. Good night, girlfriend, girlfriend. The word sits heavy on my chest, making it very hard to breathe. I should roll my eyes. I should correct him. But instead, I smile. I drop my phone on my nightstand, covering my face with my hands. What the hell am I doing? I told myself I'd take this slow. I told myself I'd ease into this, that I wouldn't just fall back into old habits. And yet, here I am, smiling like a damn teenager over a text from Dexter Lane. I exhale sharply, shaking my head. This man is dangerous. Not in the typical way, not in a he's gonna break my heart way, but in a he's gonna make me forget why I ever thought I needed to be careful kind of way. What about May? Does she have any idea what I'm doing? What her father and I are doing? What if things go wrong and she gets hurt again because I've made another reckless, selfish decision? I let out a long breath, pushing my blankets off and climbing out of bed. I need tea and time. And maybe a lobotomy. I shuffle into the kitchen, switching on the light, but before I can even reach for the kettle, my phone buzzes again. I freeze. I shouldn't check it. I shouldn't. But I do. I grab my phone off the counter and swipe open the message. Dexter. Still thinking about me? I narrow my eyes, groaning under my breath. I swear it's like he has a radar for when I'm spiraling. I type back. Lucy, I was thinking about tea. His response comes immediately. Dexter, liar. I bite my lip, fingers hovering over the screen. I should ignore him. I should not entertain this, but of course I do. Lucy, go to sleep, Dexter. Dexter. Not tired. I roll my eyes. Lucy, you're a grown man. Figure it out. Dexter, come over and help me. I choke on air. Lucy, excuse me? Dexter, relax, Reynolds. I meant with sleeping. I blink. Lucy, that's literally what I was reacting to. His response is instant. Dexter, damn, dirty mind, huh? I groan, slamming my phone down on the counter. I hate him. I hate that he's getting to me. I hate that I'm smiling so hard my cheeks hurt. I inhale slowly, picking up my phone again, determined to end this conversation before I let it go anywhere it shouldn't. Lucy, good night, Dexter. No response. I nod to myself, satisfied. Finally. A win, then, Dexter, night, girlfriend. I groan, tossing my phone onto the counter and stomping away like he can somehow see my frustration. I need help. The sizzle of bacon fills my kitchen as I flip another perfectly crispy strip onto a paper towel. The coffee maker gurgles its final drops, and I'm debating whether to make May's eggs sunny side up or scrambled when she shuffles in. Her hair's a mess, and she's wearing the oversized t-shirt she stole from my drawer last week. She drops into a chair at the kitchen island, eyeing the plate I slide in front of her. You don't have to feed me anymore, she mumbles, but picks up a piece of bacon anyway. I adjust my glasses, busying myself with the eggs. Scrambled okay? She shrugs, scrolling through her phone. I want to say something, anything, but every word feels like a potential landmine. I'm working late today, May says, not looking up, then staying at Ariel's. My hand tightens around the spatula. I want to tell her no. I want to tell her we need to talk. I want to tell her I'm sorry for everything. Instead, I scrape the eggs onto her plate. How's work been going? May's laugh is sharp enough to cut. Oh, now you care about what happens at work? The eggs suddenly look unappetizing. I set the pan in the sink with more force than necessary, trying to swallow past the lump in my throat. Of course I care. My voice cracks, and I adjust my glasses, trying to steady myself. I love you, May. I worry about you every single day. She stabs at her eggs with her fork, creating valleys in the fluffy yellow peaks. Right. I do. Works great, actually. She lifts her chin, meeting my eyes with a challenge. Dexter's been amazing. Did you know he has properties all over the world and his investment portfolio? She waves her fork. I've learned more in 2 weeks than I did in all of economics class. My stomach twists. I recognize that tone, the one that says she's trying to hurt me. Who knows? She continues, pushing her plate away. Maybe I'll go into the family business. I grip the edge of the counter, trying to keep my balance. My phone buzzes. May glances at it, then stands, grabbing her bag. That's my ride. Dexter sent a car. She emphasizes his name, watching me flinch. So I don't have to take the trashy city bus anymore. I watch her gather her things, each movement precise and angry. The guilt crashes over me in waves. All those years of scraping by, of counting pennies for groceries, of explaining why we couldn't afford name brand anything, while Dexter sat in his tower of wealth, not knowing he had a daughter who needed him. May pauses at the door, adjusting her backpack. You know what the worst part is, Mom? She doesn't wait for my answer. All those times I asked about my dad, you could have just told me the truth. Instead, you let me think he abandoned us. She shakes her head. Turns out, you abandoned him. The door closes behind her with a soft click that echoes through our suddenly too quiet apartment.
Chapter 24. Dexter. I know she's thinking about me. I can feel it. It's in the way she hesitates before answering my texts. The way she still argues with me over everything but doesn't actually walk away. The way she lets me in, even when she's trying so damn hard not to. I grin to myself, leaning back in my office chair, spinning my phone between my fingers. I should be working. I should be reviewing the reports that have been sitting on my desk for the past hour. I should be thinking about May, about her position at the company. But instead, I'm sitting here wondering what Lucy's doing right now, wondering if she's staring at her phone, debating whether or not she should text me first. I smirk. She won't. She's too damn stubborn for that. Which is why I text her. Dexter, thinking about me. I wait 1 second, 2. Lucy. No, she's so bad at lying. Dexter. Liar. Her response takes a little longer this time. Lucy. Go be productive. I smirk, already picturing her sitting at her desk, glasses slipping down her nose, pretending like she's not flustered by me. Dexter. I am being productive. I'm making sure my girlfriend still likes me. Lucy, stop calling me that. I laugh, knowing full and well that she still hasn't corrected me. I show up at her door with tacos. Because if there's one thing I know about Lucy Reynolds, it's that she can't say no to tacos. I knock once, rocking back on my heels. The door swings open, and there she is. Hair tied up, wearing a loose sweatshirt that's slipping off one shoulder, glasses perched on the edge of her nose. She freezes when she sees me. Then her eyes narrow. Dexter! I smirk, holding up the bag. I brought peace offerings. She folds her arms. And what exactly are you trying to apologize for? I grin. For being irresistible. She scoffs. Get out. I chuckle, pushing past her and stepping inside. That's not how this works, sweetheart. She groans, shutting the door behind me. You can't just show up at my house unannounced. I arch a brow. You want me to leave? She glances at the bag in my hand. I smirk. See, you do like me. She glares. I hate you. I grin. And yet you haven't kicked me out. She sighs, grabbing the bag from my hands and heading toward the kitchen. I swear to God, Dexter! I chuckle, following her. You love it. She sets the food down, shaking her head. I tolerate it. I lean against the counter, watching her pull out the containers. That's basically the same thing. She glares at me over the rim of her glasses. It's not. I smirk, snagging a taco before she can stop me. So, what are we watching tonight? She blinks. Excuse me? I take a bite, chewing casually. Movie night. You pick. She stares at me like I just grew a second head. Dexter, I never agreed to this. I shrug. You didn't say no. She groans, rubbing her temples. I'm so close to throwing you out. I grin. But you won't. She sighs, snatching her own taco and stomping toward the living room. I follow, grinning the whole damn way. Where's May? I wonder, glancing around. Like last time, I can see evidence of a teenage daughter in the house. Shoes, a coat, scattered accessories, pictures hanging on the wall. Lucy sighs, her mood plummeting even further as she flops onto the couch. Pretty sure she still hates me. She's spending her free time with you, or with friends. I sit down beside her. She doesn't hate you, I tease, trying to keep it lighthearted, trying to ignore the guilt I feel for telling May everything when I'd agreed to give Lucy time. Yeah, right, Lucy mutters back, already sifting through shows as I settle in and put the taco tray between us. She picks a crime documentary and tosses the remote on the table, munching on her tacos as the narrator describes a grisly murder like it's just another day. She keeps glancing at me out of the corner of her eye, like she's waiting for me to say something dumb, which, to be fair, is a reasonable expectation. I stretch my arms behind my head, smirking. You know, this is basically a second date. She glares. It is not. I nod. Oh, it definitely is. Third, if you count lunch. She scoffs. Bringing me tacos does not count as a date. I tilt my head. You're sitting on a couch with me, eating dinner, watching a movie. She narrows her eyes. I smirk. Date. She huffs, turning back to the screen. You're so annoying. I chuckle, nudging her knee with mine. You love it. God help me! I grin, letting silence settle between us. This is what I wanted. The quiet moments. The easy ones. The ones where she forgets to be scared. I finally feel like we're not just dancing around something. We're building something. She exhales, stretching her arms above her head, letting out a small yawn. I grin. Tired? She nods, rubbing her eyes behind her glasses. A little. I smirk. Want me to tuck you in? She freezes, then glares. Dexter! I chuckle. Just being a good boyfriend. She groans. I swear to God, if you call yourself that one more time. I lean in, voice low. What? You gonna stop me? Her breath hitches just for a second, but I notice. I tilt my head, watching her carefully. Tell me you don't like this. Dex. I smirk. Tell me you don't like me. She swallows, looks away, and says nothing. I grin, leaning back. That's what I thought.
Chapter 25. Lucy. I groan, throwing a pillow that Dexter effortlessly swats out of the air. He uses the playful moment to pounce, jumping forward and grabbing my ankle. I squeal and laugh, trying to get away. Somehow I manage to get to my feet and start running away, but I don't get very far. Dexter's hand clenches the back of my blouse before I can turn. Fabric strains as he spins me. My glasses slide crooked on my nose, the world tilting as my spine meets his chest. I smell cedar and the sharp tang of his cologne. I hate to put a stop to a good time, but it looks like we've hit this platform's limit for spiciness.
This platform's got some rules we have to play by if we want to keep giving you these stories for free.
And trust me, this scene isn't something you want to miss.
While we can't get into all the details here, you can still dive into the full, uncut version at TylaWalker.com.
Miss Tyla has an entire collection of unabridged audiobooks and ebooks waiting for you.
And the best part? You can treat yourself with 40% off when you use the code SAVE40.
That's right. You'll save on any digital product, even bundles that are already discounted.
Miss Tyla would never let anyone feel the kind of disappointment you must be feeling right now.
So why wait? Treat yourself with Miss Tyla. The aftermath smells like sex and singed polyester. My left contact lens swims out of place. Dexter's fingers trace the scar below my ribs from May's C-section. You never told me about this. I slap his hand away, legs trembling as I reach for my crumpled blouse. Don't. He catches my wrist. Loose. Checklist time. I yank free, counting off on shaking fingers. Reckless decision? Check. Poor parenting model? Check. Potential to ruin everything again? Gold freaking star. His laughter dies when I stand. You really think I'd walk away now? I step into my panties, the lace torn at the hip. I don't say anything. Really, I can't. What could I say? Yes, I think he'd leave me. I'm not the 17-year-old body he fell in love with. I scramble to get my clothes back on, but Dexter is on his feet and moving toward me. He grabs me, turns me toward him, and as I look into his eyes, I'm not sure if Dexter could ever be considered a mistake.
Chapter 26. Dexter. Lucy is standing in front of me, arms crossed, biting her lip like she's trying not to say what she's really thinking. Like she's waiting for me to say something first. Something that'll make this easier. But the thing is, there's nothing easy about this. Not for me, not for her. And I don't want to lie to her. Don't want to throw some meaningless words into the air just so she can grab onto something that feels safe. This isn't about safety. This is about us. We're finally standing here looking at each other, realizing that there's no more running, no more hiding, no more excuses. I exhale, rubbing a hand down my jaw. Say it, Luce. Her throat bobs. Say what? I tilt my head. Whatever's on your mind. She shifts on her feet. That's dangerous. I smirk. Try me. She inhales sharply like she's preparing for a fight neither of us really want. Then, I'm scared. I nod, watching her carefully. I know. She exhales, shaking her head. And you're just okay with that? I lift a brow. Lucy, I've always been okay with that. She scoffs, pressing her fingers to her temples. You make it sound so simple. I shake my head. It is simple. She glares. It's not. I step closer, my voice steady. It is if you let it be. She looks away. Dexter, this isn't a game. I know that. She shakes her head again, frustration written all over her face. Then stop acting like this is some easy choice. Like it's not. She cuts herself off, pressing her lips together. Like she doesn't want to say it out loud. I step even closer, lowering my voice. Like it's not what, Luce? She swallows. Like it's not a risk. I nod, holding her gaze. It is. She blinks, surprised I'm agreeing. I exhale, but I'm not scared of that. She lets out a humorless laugh. Yeah, well, I am. I nod again. I know you are. She inhales sharply, eyes flashing. And that doesn't bother you? I shake my head. No. Her lips part slightly. Why not? I smirk, tilting my head. Because you're still here. She stills. I step closer, voice lower now. You're scared, but you stayed. She swallows hard, her fingers twitching at her sides. I take another step, closing the distance between us. You don't stay for things you don't want, Lucy. She exhales, looking anywhere but at me. That's not... I lift a brow. Tell me I'm wrong. She hesitates. Her throat bobs. Her hands tighten into fists, then relax again. And that's when I know. She can't say it, because she knows I'm right. I step even closer until she's backed up against the counter, nowhere left to run. I tilt my head. Tell me you don't want this, and I'll walk away right now. She looks up at me, eyes wide. Dex, I nod. Say it. Her breath catches. Her fingers twitch. I lean in slightly, my voice softer now. Tell me you don't still feel this, and I swear to God I'll let you go. She doesn't say it. Not after 1 second. Not after 5. Not at all. I smirk, brushing my knuckles against her cheek. She shakes her head, but she doesn't move away. Doesn't push me back. Doesn't stop me. I brush a curl behind her ear, watching her carefully. You want to know what scares me, Lucy? She swallows. What? I run my thumb along her jaw. The thought of losing you again. The thought of losing the love of my life. And the daughter I've only just found. Her breath hitches. I nod. That's my risk. She closes her eyes for a second, exhaling slowly. I lean in slightly. But I'm willing to take it. She exhales, barely above a whisper. Me too. My chest tightens. I don't say anything. I just look at her. The moment I've been waiting for since the second she walked back into my life. She's choosing this, choosing me. And I'll be damned if I let her go again. I tilt my head. Say it again. You really don't know when to quit, do you? I smirk. Not when it comes to you. She's looking up at me. Then after a beat, she whispers it again. Me too! I swallow hard, my fingers tightening around her waist. And then, slowly, carefully, I kiss her. It's soft at first, barely there, a whisper of what we used to be. But the second she exhales, the second she lets herself lean in, the second her fingers curl into my shirt, it's everything. It's years of longing, Years of regret. Years of unfinished business, finally finding a way to be whole again. I press her back against the counter, deepening the kiss, letting myself fall because this time I know. She's falling with me. She gasps softly, tilting her chin, and I groan against her mouth, gripping her tighter. She wants this. She wants me. I don't care that it took 16 years to get here. I don't care that we wasted time, that we lost so much. All I care about is this. Her. Me. Right now, she pulls back just enough to catch her breath, her lips swollen, her eyes dark. I rest my forehead against hers, my voice low. No more running, Luce. She nods, barely above a whisper. No more running. And just like that, we're all in.
Chapter 27. Lucy. Dexter's hands are everywhere. My waist, my back, my neck. His lips crash into mine, hungry and desperate, like he's been starving for this for years. Maybe he has. I've been starving too. My fingers claw at his shirt, fumbling with the buttons, until he growls and rips it off himself, tossing it aside. His chest is warm under my palms, his heartbeat racing against my fingertips. Lucy, he murmurs against my mouth, his voice rough. I've missed you every damn day. Show me, I breathe, and he does. He lifts me effortlessly, my legs wrapping around his waist as he carries me to the bed. The world tilts as he lays me down, his hands already working at the zipper of my dress. The fabric slides off, pooling around me, and his eyes darken as he takes me in. I hate to put a stop to a good time, but it looks like we've hit this platform's limit for spiciness.
This platform's got some rules we have to play by if we want to keep giving you these stories for free.
And trust me, this scene isn't something you want to miss.
While we can't get into all the details here, you can still dive into the full, uncut version at TylaWalker.com.
Miss Tyla has an entire collection of unabridged audiobooks and ebooks waiting for you.
And the best part? You can treat yourself with 40% off when you use the code SAVE40.
That's right. You'll save on any digital product, even bundles that are already discounted.
Miss Tyla would never let anyone feel the kind of disappointment you must be feeling right now.
So why wait? Treat yourself with Miss Tyla. So, I say, my voice a little hoarse. That was something. He chuckles, low and warm, his lips brushing my shoulder. Understatement of the century. I roll onto my side to face him, propping my head on my hand. His hair's a mess, his chest still rising and falling like he's run a marathon. I trace a finger along his collarbone, and he shivers. You're quiet, he says, his eyes searching mine. Regretting it already? No, I say quickly, too quickly, and he raises an eyebrow. I sigh, tugging the sheet up around me. It's just, this is a lot, Dexter. 1 minute, we're figuring out how to get past the last 16 years, and the next. And the next, we're making up for lost time. He finishes for me, his hand sliding up my arm. Lucy, I've wanted this. Wanted you for 16 years. Don't overthink it. I let out a laugh, half exasperated, half amused. Says the man who plans every minute of his day like it's a military operation. Hey, I can be spontaneous, he protests, pulling me closer. Case in point. Spontaneous doesn't mean throwing your shirt across the room like a teenager, I tease, gesturing to where it's draped over the lampshade. What if May walks in? He groans, burying his face in the pillow. Don't. You're killing the mood. Oh, I think the mood's just fine, I say, trailing a finger down his spine. He shivers again and I grin. But we do need to talk about this. About us. About May. He flips onto his back, staring at the ceiling. I know, I don't want to screw this up. I've already missed so much. You're here now, I say, my voice softening. That's what matters. He turns his head to look at me, his eyes serious. Do you think she'll ever forgive me? For not being there? I reach for his hand, lacing our fingers together. She's already halfway there. You're her father, Dexter. She just needs time to adjust. He nods, but I can see the doubt lingering in his eyes. I squeeze his hand. Hey, you're doing better than you think.
Chapter 28. Dexter. Lucy's still holding my hand. I don't think she even realizes it. Her fingers are curled around mine, her thumb absent-mindedly brushing against my skin. Like touching me is just natural, like it's something she's always done. Like it's something she's never stopped wanting to do. And I don't say anything about it. I squeeze her hand lightly, watching her eyes flick up to mine. She lets out a slow breath, shaking her head. This is getting serious, isn't it? I smirk. I'd say the hand-holding is a pretty big step. She scoffs, trying to pull her hand away, but I tighten my grip, grinning. She glares. Dexter. I chuckle. Oh no, sweetheart, you started this. You don't get to back out now? She groans, rubbing her temple with her free hand. You are so exhausting. I tilt my head. I swear, if you say you love it... I smirk. But you do. I mean, you loved it last night. She groans again, leaning back against the counter, muttering to herself. I grin, watching her, taking in every little thing she does. The way she fiddles with her glasses when she's frustrated. The way her lips melt together like she's trying so hard not to smile. The way her fingers are still tangled with mine, even though she pretends like they aren't. I inhale slowly, my voice softer now. I know this is scary for you. She stills. I nod, watching her carefully. I know you're waiting for the moment this falls apart. I know you're waiting for the thing that makes you run again. She looks away. Dex. I shake my head. I just need you to know. I'm not running. I'm not going anywhere. She exhales, gripping my hand a little tighter, like she believes me. Like she wants to believe me. I step closer, tilting my head. And neither are you. She blinks up at me, her brows furrowing slightly. How do you know that? I smirk. Because you stayed last time. And the time before that. And the time before that. She sighs, rubbing her temple. You really don't let up, do you? I grin. Not when it comes to you. She shakes her head, exhaling sharply. God help me. I smirk. That's what you always say before you kiss me. She freezes. Her eyes widen slightly, almost like she doesn't think I would call her out like that. I tilt my head, watching her. Tell me I'm wrong. Her throat bobs. She can't tell me I'm wrong. I step even closer, my voice dropping. Tell me you don't want to do it right now. Her fingers twitch in mine, her breath coming out a little unsteady. Dexter. The kitchen door swings open and May steps in, her backpack slung over one shoulder. Lucy practically leaps away from me, but I keep my stance casual, letting my hand drop naturally to my side. May's eyes dart between us, her brows furrowing. What are you doing here? I shrug, offering her an easy smile. Well, she's your mother. I'm your father. Doesn't it make sense that we'd see each other sometimes? The look May gives me could freeze hell over. Her jaw tightens, eyes narrowing. Maybe. If you'd known I existed for the last 16 years of my life. The words are meant to hit. Not me, but her mother. I watch her shoulders slump, her fingers automatically reaching to adjust her glasses. That nervous tick still hasn't changed after all this time. I clear my throat, trying to shift the tension. How was the sleepover? Did you girls manage to get any actual sleep? Or was it all trendy dances and ghost stories? May's backpack hits the floor with a thud. It was fine. The ice in her voice makes me wince internally, but I keep my expression neutral. I've faced down boardrooms full of hostile investors. I can handle one angry teenager. Even if that teenager happens to be my daughter. My daughter. The words still send a jolt through my system every time I think them. May sighs, shifting her weight and readjusting her backpack. You two are being weird? She shuffles past us, her footsteps heavy against the hardwood floor. Want some breakfast, honey? Lucy's voice carries a hopeful note that makes my chest ache. Not hungry. The door slams, the sound echoing through the kitchen. Lucy turns to me, her smile wavering. The morning light streaming through the window catches on her glasses, hiding her eyes for a moment. See? Her voice cracks. I told you she hates me. I reach for her hands, capturing them in mine before she can pull away. Her skin is cool against my palms, and I can feel the slight tremor she's trying to hide. She doesn't hate you. She hates what you did. It's the same thing. Lucy's fingers twist in mine, but I don't let go. A tear escapes, sliding down her cheek. And if this... She gestures between us with our joined hands. If we don't work out, she'll blame me for that too. Everything will be my fault. Again. The pain in her voice cuts through me. I've seen Lucy Reynolds handle business, raise a teenager alone, and how she built a life from nothing. But this vulnerability, this raw fear, it strips away all her carefully constructed walls. Hey, I release one of her hands to cup her cheek, thumb brushing away the tear track. Everything's going to be all right. How can you be so sure? Because I'm not going anywhere. I lean forward, pressing my forehead against hers. And neither are you. Remember? Her breath hitches, but she doesn't pull away. I love her. I know, I say, with a gentle smile. Chapter 29. Dexter. Lucy stands there, fiddling with her sweater and chewing on her cheek as she stares down the hallway where May disappeared. I can hear the faint, rhythmic thumps of a song vibrating through the walls. Teenagers. I step closer, reaching for her hand again, threading my fingers through hers. Do you want to go on a real date? She lifts a brow. Define real. I grin. You let me pick you up, wear something pretty, and we do something other than eating tacos on your couch while you pretend like you don't like being around me. That's suspiciously specific. I chuckle. You do know me, right? She shakes her head. You love pushing your luck. I smirk. And you love me. She groans, pulling her hand away. I did not say that. I grin. Yet. She rubs her temples. Why did I agree to this? I chuckle. Because deep down, you always knew we'd end up right back here. Her eyes narrow. You are so full of yourself. I shrug. I have reason to be. She shakes her head, muttering something under her breath. I smirk. That sounded suspiciously like fine. Pick me up Friday. She glares. That's not what I said. I lift a brow. But that is what's happening. She crosses her arms. If I say yes, will you drop it? I tilt my head, pretending to think. Probably not. She groans. I hate you. I grin. No, you don't. Then, after a long beat, fine. I smirk. Fine what? She glares. Fine, pick me up Friday. I nod, stuffing my hands in my pockets, rocking back on my heels. See? That wasn't so hard, was it? She mutters something that sounds a lot like, oh my God, I should have stayed single forever. But I ignore it. Because the important part, she agreed. And if I know Lucy Reynolds, that's only the beginning. I pull up to Lucy's house at exactly 6:58 p.m. Not too early, not too late. Just enough time for her to be staring at the clock, waiting for me, but still pretending like she's not. I step out of the car, straightening my shirt, running a hand through my hair before knocking on her door. I hear movement inside. Then, "Coming!" I smirk. She swings the door open a few seconds later, and damn, she looks good. Like so good, I momentarily forget how to function. She's in a deep red dress, fitted just enough to remind me of every single curve I've missed, her hair falling in soft waves, her lips tinted a shade darker than usual. And I swear to God, she's trying to kill me. I exhale slowly, tilting my head. Well, damn, Reynolds. You're trying to make this hard for me. She folds her arms, but I don't miss the way her lips twitch. I don't know what you mean. I smirk. Uh-huh. Sure. She lifts a brow. Are we going or what? I nod, stepping back. After you, sweetheart. She rolls her eyes, but she still steps forward, still lets me guide her toward the car, still lets me open the door for her. Progress. Lucy's sipping her wine, looking at me over the rim of her glass, like she's still trying to figure me out. I smirk. You're staring, babe. She huffs. You're insufferable. I grin. And yet, here you are. She groans, setting her glass down. This was a terrible idea. I chuckle. You say that, but I caught you smiling at least 5 times tonight. That was a mistake. I tilt my head. Oh yeah? She nods. I was tricked into it. I smirk. Tricked into having fun? She glares. Dexter! I grin. Lucy! And I let the silence settle for a second, because I know she's enjoying this. I know she's just fighting it. So I lower my voice, watching her carefully. You do realize this is happening, right? She blinks. What? I smirk. Us, Luce! This happening. She opens her mouth, then closes it, like she's trying to form an argument. But she can't, because she knows it's true. She exhales, shaking her head. You're impossible. I reach across the table, grabbing her hand, my fingers grazing over her knuckles. She stills. She doesn't pull away. I lean in slightly. Admit it, sweetheart. You like being mine again. Her breath comes out a little shaky. I never really stopped.
I thought I was getting a fake marriage, but I didn't know my story was being told by Miss Tyla.
This isn't just any fake marriage, now is it?
No, you introduced me to the devil.
Come on, girl, Jacob isn't that bad.
Oh, I love Jacob. His family, on the other hand?
Beggars can't be choosers, Nyla. You should be grateful I even let Jacob Stone look your way.
I just wanted to save my granddaddy. Is that so bad? Why couldn't you let this be a normal fake marriage? Instead, you put me in a twisty story filled with money, betrayal, power, and lies.
Let's not forget love.
That's what keeps me going. But not gonna lie, Miss Tyla. This story you got me in ain't the simple fake marriage, happy ending I thought it would be.
It's not. Because where would be the fun in that?
Treat yourself to Say Less I Love You. Tuesdays and Thursdays. New seasons premiere every month. Or skip the wait and grab the full series bundle from TylaWalker.com. Treat yourself with Miss Tyla.
Chapter 30. Dexter. We stumble through the front door, unable to pull away from each other for even a second. Her hands are in my hair, mine are gripping her waist, and the kiss is all teeth and warmth, and that familiar spark that's never faded. We make it as far as the couch before I sit us down and lift her onto my lap. She pulls back slightly, breathless, and I feel her shift like she's about to get up. Bedroom, she murmurs, her voice low and a little unsteady. I don't let her move. My hand tightens on her waist, anchoring her in place. Here. Now. She rolls her eyes, but there's that little smile tugging at her lips, the one that tells me she's loving this as much as I am. You're impossible. I grin, pulling her onto my lap, her legs straddling me. She laughs, a breathless sound, and then I'm kissing her again, deep and slow, like I've got all the time in the world. Her hands slide down to my chest, fingers curling into my shirt, and I can feel the way her hips press into mine, like she's as impatient as I am.
And that's where we're going to put a pause on pleasure.
It looks like the rest of this chapter is just too naughty to put on the air.
As much as we love to share every little detail, we've got to stick to this platform's guidelines to keep these free audiobooks coming.
They've got some rules about what we can show, and we wouldn't want to risk losing the chance to bring you more content.
As frustrating as it is to build the tension only to be interrupted, Miss Tyla always knows how to make it up to you.
You can find the full, uncut scene over at TylaWalker.com.
With an entire library of unabridged audiobooks and ebooks, Miss Tyla's collection is waiting for you.
And if you use code SAVE40, you'll get 40% off any digital product, even on bundles that are already discounted.
So don't let the fun stop here. Head over to TylaWalker.com and treat yourself with Miss Tyla.
Chapter 31. Dexter. I watch Lucy frantically pulling on her shirt, her movements jerky and panicked. May! Wait, honey! Lucy, stop! My hands find her arms, steadying her trembling frame. We haven't done anything wrong. We're her parents. We're allowed to be together. Tears well up in her eyes, magnified behind her glasses. She already hates me for keeping you from her. Now this, finding us, like this. Her voice cracks. She's going to hate me even more. My chest tightens at her words, a physical ache spreading through me. I want to hold her, to somehow make this better, but she slips through my fingers like water. The bedroom door clicks shut behind her. I follow, my bare feet silent against the hardwood floor. In the kitchen, May stands frozen, hands clasped firmly over her eyes. The morning sun streams through the window, catching the tears tracking down her cheeks. Can I open my eyes now? Her voice is small, uncertain. Are you guys decent? The question hangs in the air between us, heavy with implications. Lucy's shoulders shake with silent sobs, and I fight the urge to reach for her again. We're caught in this delicate moment, our newly formed family balanced on a knife's edge. Yes, May, I say softly. You can open your eyes. May's fingers part slowly, her eyes peeking through before her hand drops completely. What the hell did I just see? May? Lucy's voice carries that maternal edge I've come to recognize. Watch your language. Oh, now you want to parent me? May's words slice through the kitchen air. Where was all this concern when you were busy lying to me my whole life? When you were sneaking around with him behind my back? The muscles in my jaw tighten. I step forward, placing myself between them. That's enough. Excuse me. You heard me. I don't care how angry you are. You don't get to talk to your mother like that. May's eyes flash and she whirls on me. Why are you defending her? She kept me from you for 16 years. She lied to both of us. Why aren't you mad? Who says I'm not mad? My voice rises, filling the space between us. But being upset doesn't give you the right to act like a brat. Your mother made mistakes, big ones. But she's still your mother. She raised you alone, gave you everything she could, made sure you had opportunities I never knew about. So yes, I'm angry about what I missed. But I'm not going to stand here and watch you tear her down. May's caramel skin flushes, the color creeping up her neck to her cheeks. She opens her mouth, closes it, then opens it again. But no words come out. Is that why you're here? May's voice trembles. Are you only trying to be in my life because you want to get back with Mom? The accusation isn't anything I'd expected at all, or considered as something May might worry about. I reach for her hand, and to my surprise, she doesn't pull away. Her skin is soft against my calloused palm, reminding me of all the years I missed holding my daughter's hand. May, Listen to me. Your mother and I. That's separate from how I feel about you. You're my daughter. Every day I spend with you at the office, I discover something new that makes my heart grow. The way you scrunch your nose when you concentrate, just like I do. How you can't stand chocolate ice cream, which honestly breaks my heart a little. A small smile tugs at her lips. I want to be your father. I want to know everything about you, to be there for every moment I can from now on. I squeeze her hand gently. But I love your mother too. Losing her, it left a hole in me that nothing else could fill. 16 years, and I never stopped thinking about her. Your mom, she's like gravity. Even when you can't see it, it's there, pulling you in. A soft sniffle draws my attention to Lucy. She's removed her glasses, wiping at her eyes with the back of her hand. The morning light catches the tears on her cheeks, and my chest tightens at the sight. Turning back to May, I take a deep breath. I know this is all new and overwhelming, but I want us to be a real family. And if you're okay with it, my heart pounds against my ribs. I'd like to ask your mother to marry me. May's eyes widen, darting between Lucy and me. The kitchen falls silent except for the gentle hum of the refrigerator and the distant chirping of birds outside. Wait, what? Now? Here? In the kitchen? A laugh rumbles through my chest. No, not right this second. I lean against the counter, crossing my arms. Think of it more as a heads up. A promise that when we're all ready, when this feels right and normal, I'll do it properly. We have time. May's gaze shifts to Lucy, who's still dabbing at her eyes. Mom, do you still love him? Lucy nods, her fingers fidgeting with her glasses. Then why? May's voice cracks, raw with emotion. Why did you leave him? Lucy's shoulders slump. Your grandparents, Dexter's parents, they never approved of me. They saw me as this passing phase in Dexter's life. She wraps her arms around herself. When I found out I was pregnant with you, I knew what would happen. They'd try to handle it quietly, pressure me into an abortion or adoption. I couldn't. Her voice breaks. I couldn't let anyone take you from me. May turns to me, her eyes searching mine. Would you have let them do that? The question makes my stomach churn. I push off from the counter, taking a step toward her. The past is the past, May. What matters now is our future. Together as a family. Tears spill down May's cheeks as she launches herself at me. Her arms wrap around my waist and I hold her close, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo. She reaches out, grabbing Lucy's hand and pulling her into our embrace. Yes, May whispers against my chest. You can marry Mom. Lucy's warmth presses against my side, and everything feels right. Chapter 33. Dexter. I drag my mouth along her neck, grinning when her hands scramble at my shoulders. You know what this dress does to me? Her laugh hitches as I bite the strap of her bra. You bought it. Best investment I ever made. The zipper gives way under my fingers, fabric pooling at her waist. I pause, breath catching at the way her skin glows in the low light. Jesus, Luce. Should have proposed years ago just to see you like this. She rolls her eyes, but her chest heaves when I trace the curve of her hip. You're such a... romantic? I yank her closer, her gasp hot against my jaw. Admit it. You love when I... Shut up. She fists my tie, dragging me into a kiss that steals the smirk right off my face. My jacket hits the floor first, her dress following in a rustle of expensive silk. She kicks off her heels, the clatter loud in the sudden quiet. We'd stayed at the party long enough to be polite before I stole her away to the room I had reserved. There was no chance I was going to let tonight slip by without worshipping every inch of her body. Floor's cold, she warns, arching an eyebrow.
I hate to put a stop to a good time, but it looks like we've hit this platform's limit for spiciness.
This platform's got some rules we have to play by if we want to keep giving you these stories for free.
And trust me, this scene isn't something you want to miss.
While we can't get into all the details here, you can still dive into the full, uncut version at TylaWalker.com.
Miss Tyla has an entire collection of unabridged audiobooks and ebooks waiting for you.
And the best part? You can treat yourself with 40% off when you use the code SAVE40.
That's right. You'll save on any digital product, even bundles that are already discounted.
Miss Tyla would never let anyone feel the kind of disappointment you must be feeling right now.
So why wait? Treat yourself with Miss Tyla.
When Nyla Thomas agreed to a fake marriage, she wasn't expecting it to land her in jail.
Nyla Thomas, you are under arrest for the murders of Hilda and William Stone.
She wasn't expecting to find out the truth about her family.
You're adopted.
Marcus Swan is my father.
To get involved in crime.
The Sokolov family did this. They poisoned him.
And least of all, was she expecting to fall in love.
It's you, Nyla. It's always been you.
But now, everything is crumbling around her.
Interim CEO of Stone Hospital Group accused of murdering Hilda and William Stone to secure her position.
Alexander, you promised things would change.
They have. I'm in charge now.
No one knows who to believe.
Take the plea bargain.
I'm innocent. I thought you out of everyone would believe me.
Can you forgive her for killing our parents?
No one knows who to trust.
This is your fault. Did you ever think that Nyla would be just fine if she hadn't gotten involved with you?
I love her. I love her more than life itself.
Miss Thomas, the tests came back. There's a perfectly acceptable explanation for your condition.
And things are about to get a lot more complicated.